Hi, Bubba's. Hello. I am live. Good morning, everybody. Um, how are you? Are you ready? I did a little bit of research yesterday. I looked at some local news. I remembered right. She's supposed to take the stand today. So I don't know if you were in here last night for my live. I was like, I'm pretty sure from the last Ginter hearing, she was supposed to, the whole thing was she was going to take the stand. She was sick. So she is going to be taking the stand. So it's going to be a good one, guys. It's going to be a good one. But while we're waiting, I have a couple options that we could watch. Okay. So we could either watch Paul testifying, because I know last time we didn't watch all Shanda testifying, but we watched some of her testifying. So just while we're waiting, you know how, I mean, it's supposed to start in 10 minutes, 12 minutes, but they're always late too. And I for sure found a local channel that's live streaming it. So we at least for sure get to see it. Long Crime doesn't have theirs up yet, but the local channel that live streamed their trial is live streaming this. They already have their reminder up. So we're gonna be able to see it. But anyway, but I'll keep checking to see I don't know who you prefer. If Court TV, Long Crime and Court TV usually pop up late. So if they cover it, I guess we'll just see who's got the best reception. But anyway, we could either watch Paul while we're waiting, Paul testifying. I figure it might be a good option because we did watch Shonda's yet last time, or we could watch a part of that channel that played some of that video from that morning with Timothy. But that's a shocker. I mean, that's gonna be. I don't know if in the morning that's the best time to watch it because that's hard. Hey, Snooks. Maybe we could watch that after because I don't know if that's the first thing we want to see, like, because it's really hard to watch. Um, so maybe we could watch that clip, that video after we Chanda takes a stand. Hey, Stacy. Hey, Mallory. Moira. Hey, long time no see. I love your owl pictures. Um, and hey, Stacy, Mallory. Oh, I'm saying hi to the same ones, huh? Snooks. Hey, chicken tender. Karen, Ree, Sherry, Scooby, England, living it up. Mama Mia, you made it! Yay! I know, I can't wait either. All right, so let me see here. Let me see if I keep checking Long Time in Court TV just to see, because I'm surprised that they aren't covering it. Like they're on everything. I mean, it kind of upsets me because it's like so commercialized. So like they're taking over everything. Like now they get everything before us. Little people could get it because they have all this manpower and stuff. And I mean, I guess I do like them because they are able to get video. I like them for the fact that they're able to get cameras in the courts because I mean, I'd have to be traveling to each state to try to get cameras in the court and be media, but that might even be hard. But what was my point? Oh, I'm surprised they don't have anything up yet. But like I said, the local channel does, so don't worry. Okay, so let's watch Paul. You guys want to watch Paul while we're waiting? Watch his testimony? I haven't watched his testimony forever. Kind of remind ourselves what he said. Hey, Janelle, amazing dead man. Oh, wow, that's amazing, Maura. My sister would love that. She died, I talked about this yesterday. A while back, but she used to love owls. She would have loved that. That's awesome. I like that. I like the colors in that. Finger, hey. Hey, Twisted Taurus. Okay. So let's start just watch a little bit of pause while we're waiting. Mason Dead Man. We got Janelle, thank you. I know it's been forever since a lot of people um well, since I've covered this case, I should say, it depends. It's tricky because a lot of people, there's so many cases now. So people are, they're following certain cases. So if I don't cover it, then usually, I don't see a lot of people come around until it's a case I'm covering. So that happens a lot. But I am glad that you made it, Janelle. I love your little emoji person or whoever. Did you do that without your little art? Who, It's cute. Hey, Cassie. Okay, hold on a second. I am going to keep checking with Court TV. If you guys see it on Court TV or Long Crime, let me know. The only reason is sometimes, local channels, sometimes one person will be late. And you know what I'm saying? I like to have different options. Right now, I just have the local channel up that's going to cover it. But if you find Long Crime puts the reminder up, or Court TV, let me know. I can't think of anybody else that would besides the local channel and them. As far as I'm not gonna stream another like person like me that's just streaming somebody else. You know what I'm saying? I mean the main people that are doing it. Okay. All right, so let's do this. I have Paul's up so we could watch it. And then we'll watch that other one maybe after the one I was talking about if you guys haven't seen it. That has that surveillance from that morning. It has like the whole thing of Timothy. It's really hard to watch, but I don't think we should watch that first thing in the morning. It's too much. I don't even want to see it right now because it's hard. It's really hard to watch. All right, so let me go to my history. Let's watch this. Okay, so we're just gonna watch Paul while we wait for the other stuff to come on. Remember last time they were like an hour late. So I mean, be patient because a lot of times they're at least 15 minutes late. So this probably not going to start at 10. Last time, like I said, Shanda wasn't even there until, remember, it was like an hour before she even got into the courtroom. It's like, what the heck? And that's really not her fault because she has no control. They have to go pick her up. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Kay. All right, so let's watch this. So remind ourselves what Paul said. Oh, thank you. 69 months, Twisted Taurus. Wow. Wow, that's a lot. There's no sound for the title. Okay, I'll have to share. Hold on. Oh, I had my screen shared first before I put my headphones in. Sorry. I was testing out to see how it looked when. Okay, hold on, guys. Sorry. And good. I mean, I don't need to replay this. This is where he's just swearing in anyway. Okay. Let me reshare it. Sorry, guys. I'm glad that happened now and not before. I forgot if I share my screen before I have my headphones in, it doesn't work. It's stupid. I don't like it. Okay, now
To
it
your
should work.
testimony today.
No, sir.
And and for clarity's sake, you are also charged in this matter involving the death of your brother. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And what charge is brought against you at this point?
Child abuse first degree.
And what do you understand the potential maximum penalty for? Well, you know what? Strike that. I want to ask that question. And you are prepared to testify today. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And you understand that your attorney that represents you in your pending criminal matter is present in the courtroom. That's Mr. Eldon Brady. And if at any time you need to ask him any questions or take a break, you just let us know, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay. Okay, Mr. Ferguson, I'd like to start by just talking a little bit about your home in Norton Shores at the time that your brother passed away. And so you understand, and I'll try to make sure that I ask these questions very carefully because you haven't been present for this entire trial. You have a younger brother. We are not using your younger brother's name today, okay? So we're just going to use the initial G when we talk about your younger brother. So try to remember as best you can that if I ask a question that somehow involves your younger brother, that we're not going to say his name, okay? Can you do that?
Yes, sir.
All right. We'll try to ask those questions very carefully so that we don't get into that issue. But besides your younger brother, G, and yourself, at the time that your brother Timothy Ferguson passed away, who was living at the house in Norton Shores? Besides you and your younger brother, who else was living in the house?
My mother and sorry, my little brother, though he was at my grandparents at the time, my step-grandparents. That is-
And obviously your younger brother, if you can put it that way, but your youngest brother is the one that we're not identifying by name. He was living in the house at the time that your next youngest brother, Timothy Ferguson, passed away, correct?
Yes, sir.
And your mother was also living in that house as well.
Yes.
And is she in the courtroom right now?
Yes, sir.
As best you can you kind of point her out or maybe say what she's wearing right now?
Her hair is in 2 braids. She's got, I think that's a black sweatshirt.
I think that's sufficient for the record to reflect the witnesses identified the defendant, Your Honor.
Yeah, the record reflect that.
Now let's back up just a little bit from the time your brother Timothy actually passed away. When did Timothy come to live with you and your mother in that house?
May 27th of 2001.
2001. Was it maybe 2021?
21.
Okay.
I'm so sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. So in May of 2021, Timothy came to live with you, is that right?
Yes, sir.
And at the time when Timothy came to live with you, besides yourself and G, was there somebody else that was living in the house during that time period?
Other than my mother and half-brother, my stepfather, Adam.
Okay. And your stepfather, Adam, was he married to your mother at that time?
Yes.
And is he actually the father of your younger brother, G?
No.
But your mother is the mother to you and to Timothy and to G, is that right? She's your mother, she's Timothy's mother, she's G's mother, is a better way to put it.
Yes.
Right? Yes. And at some point in time, did something happen to Adam where he wasn't living in the home anymore?
He suffered a stroke in January.
Did he leave the house at that point?
Yes.
When he left the house at that point, then when it became just you, your 2 brothers and your mother living in the home?
Yes, sir.
And when Adam suffered the stroke, was he physically able to do anything to provide any care to either you or to Timothy or to G?
No.
And where did Adam go when he left the house after the stroke?
After the hospital, he went to live with my step-grandparents, my in-laws, in their house in West Olive.
When did the stroke happen?
January.
And from the time the stroke happened, was he ever back in the home in any way?
No.
And the folks that he went to live with were his parents, is that right?
Yes.
And they live in West Olive down in Ottawa County?
Yeah.
So those would be like your step-grandparents?
Yes.
And they'd be Timothy's step-grandparents as well, is that right?
Yes.
Now, in addition to your younger brothers that we've talked about, do you have any older siblings as well?
Yes.
Who are your older siblings?
My biological brother Nolan, stepsister Chelsea, stepbrother Chris. There's, I don't know exactly how to put it, step brother and sister, Kenzie and Xavier, I suppose would be the terminology.
But biologically speaking, you have an older brother, Nolan, is that
Yes.
correct? And Nolan is how much older than you?
2 years.
2 years older than you.
Yes.
And was there a time where he lived with you at the house in Norton Shores?
No.
Where does Nolan live?
North Carolina.
So Timothy came to live with you, and prior to Timothy coming to live with you, was it just you and G and your mom and stepdad in the house at that time?
Yes,
So you went from 4 people in the house to 5 people in the house in May of 2021.
yes,
And then back down to 4 people when Adam unfortunately had his stroke in January of 2022.
yes.
Now, around shortly after the time of the stroke, did there come a point in time where you became involved in having to administer some discipline to your younger brother, to Timothy?
Yes.
We'll talk about some specifics, but we've already had some text messages read, and you've had an opportunity to kind of hear about some of those text messages throughout this, right?
Yes, sir.
And you sent text messages back and forth between yourself and your mother. And we have those text messages from January through the time of your brother's death in July of 2022. Is that your understanding?
Yes, sir.
At some point in time in February, there's a discussion fairly early in those text messages about blocking Timothy's access to food. Can you describe what was happening at that time and how he was restricted from getting access to food?
He was sneaking food that was not necessary at that time, and it was solved by placing locks on the fridge, freezer, and pantry.
When we say he was sneaking food that wasn't necessary, who would make that determination that it wasn't necessary?
Shanda.
And what type of food are we talking about that he would sneak that wasn't necessary?
Sweets or anything he could really get his hands on.
So as early as February, there was restriction, the locks were going on the freezer and the refrigerator, and you said there was also some type of lock on the pantry, is that right?
Yes, sir.
And we've heard a text exchange, but at some point a little bit later, as things are progressing into April, was there a time where Timothy was doing something to get the locks off of the pantry door?
He was pulling them off by hand.
And what were you instructed to do as a result of him pulling the pantry door locks off? Let me ask you this way: were you given some instruction to replace that lock?
Yes,
And who gave you that instruction?
Shanda.
And what was your understanding of why you were locking the pantry back up?
Because he was sneaking food.
Let's talk about your brother Timothy for just a little bit. Did Timothy have some special needs?
Yes.
What was your understanding of what his special needs were?
He was attention deficit hyperactive disorder, as well as autistic. He had speech and motor impairments.
Speech and what type of impairments?
Motor impairments, movement impairments.
Movement impairments?
Yes.
And at the time that he came to live with you, was he supposed to be taking some medication?
Yes.
And did he stop taking his medication?
Yes.
Why did he stop taking his medication?
Guys, this is live right here. This is live. Just started. Wow. I'll just keep that up. I have it on mute, right? Yeah.
Court has filed 2023-110 FC with the state of Michigan versus Shanda Vander Ark. Are you Shanda Vander Ark? Yes. All right, Ms. Vander Ark appears before the court with her attorney, Mr. Ronald Ambrose. Ms. Bloomquist is here on behalf of the people of the state of Michigan. Setting time for a continuation of a hearing on a defendant's motion for a new trial. I believe we are at the point where Ms. Vander Ark was going to testify. Is that correct, Mr. Ambrose?
It is, Your Honor.
Okay, is that your understanding, Ms. Bloomquist?
That is, Your Honor. At the last hearing, we took some of my witnesses out of order so that we could just kind of get something done on the record. I believe it was November 25th.
Yeah. Okay, all right, Mr. Ambrose, you can go ahead and call your first witness.
Yes, Shanda Vander Ark.
All right, Ms. Vander Ark, if you want to come right around here, please remain standing and raise your right hand. Hand down and grab your seat. Please state your name for the record, spelling your first name and last name.
Shanda Vander Ark, Shanda Vander space capital ARK.
Okay, go ahead, Mr. Ambrose.
And Ms. Vander Ark, you are the defendant in this case, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And your attorney at the trial court level was who?
Fred Johnson.
Fred Johnson. And when did you first meet with Fred Johnson?
About the case the day after, 2 days after I was arrested.
Okay. And can you tell the court what your conversations were with Mr. Johnson?
That first day, we just kind of talked in general. We said from day one that I was going to have to testify. So we talked about that. He talked about he was putting together a team to work on it. And I remember one thing of all the weird things to remember. He asked me what my favorite TV show was, and he was going to have an intern watch it and then come in and tell me about it every week, just to have that time. But there wasn't a whole lot of specifics that day. We were just talking. He asked about my mental health. And
Was there any a point in time that you ever conceded your guilt in this case?
never.
Did you always relay to Mr. Johnson that you were not guilty?
Yes.
All right. Have you ever been charged with anything?
No. I've never even gotten a parking ticket.
Okay. So, you have testified in this case, correct?
Yes, sir.
Prior to testifying in this case, had you ever testified before?
Yes, sir, when I was a kid.
How old were you?
Oh gosh, from age 8 up through, I think about 16 was the last time my biological father tried to get visitation or custody of us.
Okay. Was being charged in this case, can you describe your mental health immediately after being charged?
Oh, horrible. I couldn't eat, I couldn't sleep. I actually didn't eat for 18 days after I got to Muskegon County Jail. It was, I didn't know which way was up.
Just as a bit of a background, when did you move to Michigan?
Oh gosh, 2015, I think.
Okay, and
My little guy was like 6 months old.
okay, so it was who moved to Michigan with you?
It was my late husband Adam and little man and myself. That was it.
Okay, and at some point Paul comes to Michigan.
Yes.
Do you recall when that was?
He had just turned 18 and graduated high school, so that was 2020. It was in the middle of COVID.
Okay, and sometime after that, Timothy arrives.
A year later.
Do you remember the month?
I want to say it was the end of May because school had let out.
Okay. May of 2021?
Yes, sir.
And I think during your testimony in this trial, he came with like a bag of medications.
A gallon size Ziploc bag, yeah.
All right. What were the medications for?
Well, he was diagnosed ADHD, sensory processing disorder, bipolar, and on the autism spectrum, but he was very high functioning. And so that was, he had, I don't remember the name of any of them really, but there was one that made him like a zombie that he took twice a day. And I mean, I think there was probably 8 or 9 medications per day that he was taking.
Why did he move to Michigan?
I got a text from his dad one day that he could no longer deal with him, that Timothy was pushing his buttons, that if he did not come to live with me, my ex was going to put his hands on him.
And so in May of...
And asked me to take him, yes, and I took him.
From May and when he first arrived, what was his behavior like?
I mean, he was about to turn 15 when we got him, so he was a teenager, but nothing outlandish. I mean, he was trying. He did not care to tell the truth hardly at all. There's no point in asking him a question pretty much the whole time. But you know, he would do stuff. He took my youngest toys at times. He broke a couple of them, and then he took some stuff from Paul. But like, it was just typical teenage. It wasn't anything that we couldn't handle. So.
In January of 2022, a significant event happens.
My late husband Adam had a stroke January 3rd of 2022.
Okay.
A massive stroke.
And what was, how did that impact the household?
Better question is probably how didn't it? I lost his income. I was already the primary breadwinner, but then I'm the sole breadwinner. We had a babysitting schedule worked out for the little guy, and with Paul and Timothy, at that point we didn't leave Timothy alone with the little one, really. And you know, I was working full time. I was gone because of the location I worked and driving over there and driving back. I was gone from the house 12 hours a day, 5 days a week. So everything just fell apart. You know, I wasn't paying bills on time. I was barely surviving.
Was Timothy being watched by your late husband prior to January?
Yes, yeah, him and the little guy. And Paul.
I think you mentioned that in your direct testimony, this was around Mother's Day of 2022. Timothy was about 104 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
And you knew that because he picked up the dog.
He weighed the dog. I could no longer lift. It was a Great Dane puppy that was 7 months old, 6 months old at the time. And the dog weighed 102 pounds. There was no way I could lift that dog.
Okay.
And so he got on the scale, weighed himself, grabbed the dog, got on the scale.
What happens from that day until July 6, 2022?
I mean, from what little I remember, it was the same thing that had started when the stroke happened. Timothy, I remember a couple times, he flat out told me, he said, I'm going to keep doing stuff until you just let me do what I want. And I said, that's not happening. And it just snowballed. I don't remember a peaceful moment after the stroke for one reason or another. And that's not all I mean, it was just in general, but he certainly created a lot of it.
He dies on July 6, 2022, correct?
A month before 16.
When are you arrested?
July 7th.
And are you immediately taken to the Muskegon County Jail?
You mean on the 7th?
Yes.
Yes, from the Norton Shores Police Department.
Okay. What were your conditions like in the Macomb County Jail, or Muskegon County Jail?
It was awful. I was on max security solely because of my charges, so I was isolated completely by myself in a room.
When you say max security, what was it like?
You're in a room by yourself. You only have the option of getting out of the room into the pod 1 hour a day, so you're locked down 23 hours a day. For me, I was in such bad shape, I couldn't eat. I barely slept. I mean, the whole 17 and a half months there, I might have averaged an hour or two of sleep a night. And there was no mental health treatment. I mean, they tried a couple of meds, but they did nothing. And I kept asking to speak with the doctor, because it was always a social worker. And she said, oh, you're on the waiting list. And I guess the waiting list was longer than 17 and a half months, but I met with her a few times, and she was no help at all. She'd say, oh, I'll meet with you once a week, or I'll meet with you once a month, and that never happened.
So it wasn't because of anything that you did, it was just the nature of your charges that they put you in next?
That's the only reason, yes.
How often, well, did you have mental health issues prior to that?
I have severe ADHD, and I have sensory processing disorder, and a little bit of OCD. I guess it was a month after I got to Huron Valley, I was diagnosed bipolar, which I've had my whole life, I guess, and didn't know it. But at the time, I just knew about the ADHD and the sensory processing.
How often during this time period would you see Mr. Johnson? From the time that you're incarcerated to?
I think the first month I saw him 2 or 3 times, but after that it was every once in a blue moon. I think he said it was once every other month. It didn't even seem like that often.
During your conversations with him, were you talking trial strategy?
A little bit. We didn't a lot, but we did a little bit.
Was it ever, well, tell me what the strategy was.
Well, on the child abuse charge, it was intentionally and knowingly, and that was, without that, the felony murder charge was gone. And so that's where we focused. It was never on I didn't even realize second degree would be an option until the day of jury selection. So we focused on the intentionally and knowingly from that, because that cost the felony murder charge.
Did you know manslaughter was
He never,
an option?
we never talked about second degree or manslaughter until the day of jury selection. It was on the jury instructions for second degree. And then the last morning, when I had the breakdown, I vaguely remember him coming in and saying he got these instructions added. And I had no clue what to say. I was in bad shape, so.
Well, tell me about, I mean, you testified,
Yes.
and tell the court how you felt during your testimony.
Well, before the testimony started, and this was one of the things that really shocked me, while the medical examiner was testifying, Fred was writing down questions. He had not had any
Objection,
questions.
non-responsive.
Sustained.
How were you feeling during your testimony?
Stressed, panicked, scared, terrified.
Okay. And after, how did your testimony end on that third day of trial?
I believe they were talking about jury questions, and I had a really bad panic attack.
Okay. And what happens after that?
Well, I had been in the room by myself in a pod.
Well, I mean,
at
from the time that you leave the courtroom, this courtroom.
Yeah. Instead of going back to the pod, I guess the sheriff had decided to put me back down in holding instead of where I had been, where there was at least people around, even though I couldn't come out to see them.
Are you okay, so you're talking about in this
In Muskegon
building?
County Jail, yeah.
Oh, at the bill, okay.
Yeah. So he separated me completely down in holding, and
Did Mr. Johnson talk to you after that, on that third day?
no.
Okay. And what happens at the jail over the course of the night?
Well, I remember right after I got back, I mean, I was upset at the whole being separated, the lights don't dim, the noise level was horrible, and I was trying to think through trial stuff just to keep myself occupied. I had thought of some questions I wanted him to come back and try to ask me the next day, but then I don't know if I even slept for an hour that night, but I remember when I was, I don't want to say come to, when I was functioning, I was curled in a ball. I was freaking the heck out. I couldn't. When they first came to get me, I said, I can't even go. I can't leave the room. And they're like, well, you have to. Come on. And it just.
How were you taken from the jail to the courthouse or courtroom?
Well, we went to, I guess, where I changed clothes, and that's as far as I got. We walked over there.
Okay. We heard, you were in the courtroom when we heard some testimony that you were curled up in a ball. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Were you suicidal?
I don't remember saying it, but yes, apparently I made at least one comment that I was going to kill myself.
All right, I mean, sounds pretty drastic. What else do you remember from that morning?
I remember just being sheer panic. I was frozen, like I couldn't even move. I remember laying up against the wall on the floor on my side on one of the concrete benches in one of the holding rooms that they tried to come upstairs and I couldn't do it. And so I went in there and curled up in a ball on my side. I was completely paralyzed. My brain was not working. Anytime I even thought about anything, I wanted to panic, and I had several panic attacks during that time.
Do you recall talking with Mr. Johnson during this time?
A little bit, yes, sir.
What was the nature of your conversation? Or was he talking to you, you talking back, or what was it, how was it going?
I remember at one point he came in and said that he had fought for a while to get the involuntary manslaughter instructions put on, and I remember thinking, what's that got to do with anything? And then I specifically asked him, after we tried to come upstairs, I said, look, can we please adjourn this? I can't do this today. And I asked him several times, and he made a comment. He said, oh, it'll just be the same way if we do that. You're gonna have the same issue. And then he said, well, we'll just go on without you, and then he left.
Do you recall signing the document?
No.
You've seen it since, though?
Yes, I have.
All right. Is that your signature or not?
I mean, it looks like a version of it.
Okay. But you don't recall signing? Is that a no?
No, sorry.
Did any medical personnel come to talk to you when you were in your condition?
No, sir.
When you were testifying on that third day, did you ever concede that you were guilty of anything?
No, not for a second.
And as far as you knew, Mr. Johnson knew what your position was.
Oh, yes.
And what was that?
That I was not guilty. We had a visit. It was one of the last couple of visits I had with him, and he was actually the one that stated, we've been talking about the intentionally and knowingly, and he said, they don't have intentionally and knowingly, you're not guilty.
Okay.
And I clung to that.
And the intentionally and knowingly phrase that relates to the first degree child
Yes, sir.
abuse. And in your understanding, the ultimate charge was felony murder.
Yes, sir.
And the predicate offense was the first degree child.
Yes, sir.
All right. I don't have any further questions now.
Is it all right if I move the podium? Okay. Good morning.
Morning.
So, Ms. Vander Ark, I just want to go back and ask you a little bit about your background, okay? So, were you a legal clerk, or what was your exact role at Newaygo County Circuit Court?
I was a law clerk.
Okay. And you were previously an intern in Muskegon County Circuit Court,
I
correct?
was, yes.
What were some of your job duties in
Legal
those two
research.
positions?
Oh, sorry. Well, both of them. I did legal research. I helped score sentencing to make sure it was accurate. That was about the extent of it here, because I was still in law school. When I worked for my judge in Newaygo, I actually did the research, and I would draft opinions, and then he would, decide if that was okay, and then most of the time he just signed off on that I'd gotten it correct.
Is it fair to say that you worked on post-conviction motions for your judges,
Yes, I did several times.
including claims of ineffective assistance of counsel?
I would assume so. I don't remember.
And so in other defendants' cases, you would be writing draft opinions or bench memos for circuit court judges.
That's what I wrote. I don't think we had an ineffective assistance. I don't think so. I may be wrong, but I don't think so.
And it's your testimony that your opinions or your I guess your recommendation to the judge was so good, he just wrote off on it, signed off?
On most of the time. There was a few that he adjusted, but he would read them and then send them over to his clerk to publish, so,
And this all happened before you were criminally charged, correct?
yes.
So even before you were at a trial, you are intimately familiar with post-conviction motions, correct?
I wouldn't say intimately familiar. I mean, some of them I was familiar with, but
Familiar enough for your judge to just
Yeah.
rubber stamp what you
for
said?
the ones, a lot of what we did, actually, most of what we did was civil. There was some criminal, but most of the motions and the work I did as far as writing was civil. He did both civil and criminal.
Now, Ms. Vander Ark, you mentioned that Mr. Johnson had a team of individuals at the Public Defender's Office, correct?
Yes.
And could you tell the judge how many individuals were on that team?
I have no idea. I think total, I met with, over time, probably 6. And then I know he mentioned having somebody doing research and other people and other interns working on it, but that's the people I met with. I don't know how many there were.
Okay. It wasn't just you and Mr. Johnson working on the case, though?
No, it wasn't.
He had social workers that
Yes.
assisted you?
Yes,
And it sounds like interns as well?
yes.
And other attorneys in his office?
Yes, I only met, as far as the criminal side, I only met with another attorney in his office. It was at one hearing, it was the gentleman that sat second chair, and then at trial. I didn't meet with any of the other attorneys otherwise.
And you said that Mr. Johnson began meeting with you approximately 2 days after your arrest?
Yes,
And he continued to meet with you throughout the pendency of the case?
yes.
And his team would meet with you throughout the pendency of the case?
The social worker is the one I saw the most. I'm trying to think, I saw the intern some, but that was mostly it.
And when you say the social worker, do you recall, was that Melinda Katecki?
For the last 2 visits, I only saw her twice in person. And I think she was online once for a meeting with a doctor. But there's another social worker that met with me once a week, usually for the first few months, I don't know, probably 6 months at least, and then she moved on from the office.
Now, Ms. Vander Ark, you've spoken quite a bit this morning about your medical, I guess, episode, for lack of a better term, medical episode that happened mid-trial. Okay, so I'm going to go into that. But that's not the first episode you had during these proceedings, correct?
No.
Okay. And one of those happened at your preliminary hearing, or your preliminary
Yes.
examination, correct?
Yes.
And that occurred just before Paul was going to testify at the prelim, correct?
I believe so.
And your medical episode that happened in the trial happened right when you'd been confronted during cross-examination, correct?
I had one other one before trial,
Oh.
during trial.
Okay, when was that?
There were some police officers testifying.
And it's
But
your...
I was sitting there and had a panic attack, and they cleared the jury out.
And do you recall what the officer was testifying about when you had that
I don't.
episode?
No, I don't.
Probably something pretty significant about your case, though, correct?
I mean, I would assume so.
Or something about your son's condition?
I don't know.
It's fair to say that those episodes, though, don't happen all the time.
They do, well, they were beforehand, and they still do happen consistently.
That's a poorly worded question, so I'll clarify here. Those episodes didn't happen on direct examination with your own attorney questioning you, correct?
They didn't happen yet?
They didn't happen during opening statements
No?
or jury selection? No?
No?
They didn't happen during certain parts of your preliminary examination?
No?
But these episodes happen when you're confronted with evidence that you don't want to acknowledge or admit. Is that fair?
No, they happened when I was confronted with traumatic events. It was anything traumatic that got that bad.
So seeing your son, who was in your care for all those months, in a picture, was traumatic to you?
Yes, extremely.
But you'd seen him every day that he was in your care, correct?
Yes. What I remembered, yes.
And then when you see a picture of him on that stand is when you have this episode.
Yes, I mean, I had panic attacks. Looking back, I know I had panic attacks previously, but I don't know what brought those on.
Nobody diagnosed you with a panic attack on the night of that trial, correct?
I don't know.
That's a yes or no?
I said I don't know.
You have no evidence that you had medical diagnosis of a panic attack that day?
That day? No. As far as I know, no.
And you have no medical diagnosis that you had a panic attack during your preliminary examination, correct?
There was no medical person called in.
Okay, so my question was, you don't have medical documentation of a panic attack that day?
No.
So let's talk about some medical documentation you do have. Do you recall Mr. Johnson submitted you to multiple individuals for forensic examination?
Yes.
And you met with those medical providers?
Yes.
And how many would you say, based on your memory, you met with?
A couple?
Okay. Would it surprise you that there's approximately 4 reports regarding your criminal responsibility or competency?
No. It
Would it surprise
me.
you?
No, because I understand the process, so it doesn't surprise me.
Okay. What's your understanding of the process?
That both sides can get the competency evaluation and the responsibility evaluation.
And you understand that under Michigan law, you're presumed competent unless proven otherwise, or unless shown otherwise, correct?
Yes.
You've never been shown to be incompetent, correct?
Not medically, no.
No, not legally. Is that correct?
Yeah.
You have never had a legal determination that you are incompetent, correct?
Yeah.
And that's after meeting with these 4 providers, correct?
Yes.
And in fact, some of the providers called into question your rendition of facts to present to them. Do you recall that?
I don't recall that, but I'll trust if they said that.
Do you recall specifically, let me go back here before we get into that. Do you remember your interviews with these providers?
Bits and pieces.
Do you feel that you were truthful with them?
Yes.
Do you feel that you appropriately explained your situation and your memory with them?
I hope so.
But you don't know, correct?
No, I don't.
Sorry, bear with me one moment, please. Your Honor, I'm referencing People's Exhibit 2, which I believe was attached to my brief, which would be a June 20th, 2023 report authored by a Benjamin La Liberty, doctor. Now did you tell this doctor or this individual at the Department of Health and Human Services Center for Forensic Psychiatry that you disassociated during times that Timothy was in your care?
Yes. Even times when he wasn't. I mean, it happened regularly. It still does.
Well, and that's my question. So is your claim in this post-conviction motion that you were disassociating during parts of the trial?
I mean, I'm not a medical person, so I don't know, but that's the only answer I have.
Well, so I'm not asking you to give me a medical opinion. I'm asking you to tell me what you mean when you're saying you disassociate. So what do you mean when you say you disassociate?
Usually it's a panic attack, and I have no clue what's going on around me. I don't remember anything during that.
And so you've said that on that day of trial, when you had your episode, that you had a panic attack. But would that be a disassociation like you have just described?
During the panic attack, yes. They usually only last like 10, maybe 15 minutes.
Oh, okay.
you describe to the court what you believe what you are experiencing, not the people. So what do you call panic attack? What are you experiencing during this events that you label as a panic attack?
It's one of two things on the breathing. Either I hyperventilate or I feel like I've got an elephant sitting in my chest and crushing it and I can't breathe.
So that's trouble breathing?
Yes. I'm shaking. My head is totally spinning.
So dizziness?
Yes, sir. I don't have a clue what's going on around me. I know people have tried to touch me during a panic attack, and that just freaks me out worse.
You mean painful?
No, just trying to make sure I'm okay.
So
And
when somebody touches you, what do you experience when somebody touches you?
I pull away, and the panic gets worse.
Okay, so you're aware of somebody touching you?
When they
Okay.
actually put their hands on me, yes.
Okay. When you say you don't know what's going on around you, is it you have auditory problems where you can't hear, or you just have an inability to understand what's being said?
I think it's both. I mean, I don't remember anything that's been said to me during a panic attack. I know I had a couple of people scare me at Huron Valley. They were just playing around, but it caused a panic attack because I didn't know they were there. And I guess they tried to talk to me and they said, yeah, we got no response, and I don't remember them trying to talk to me at all.
Okay.
It's like
Do you
I'm down
have any
at,
other symptoms?
it's like I go into a total darkness, like this black hole.
No. When you say darkness, are you seeing black? What are you seeing? Is it
Like a black
spots
or gray, usually. I'll try to fix on a spot as it sets in, but then that's it. I don't see anything else.
Can you move? Are you able to move your arms, legs, extremities?
Not most of the time, no. I'll curl up into a ball and,
So let me ask you a question. You curl up in a ball, you consciously make the decision to curl into a ball to stop the symptoms? Or is it an involuntary movement into a ball?
it's an involuntary movement.
So involuntary movement into a ball. Okay. And then you don't know how much time passes?
No,
Is that what you're telling me? Okay.
no. I know that afterwards, I've had somebody there and look at the clock, and the only thing I could tell you has been, I've had people say anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes that were around.
And you said these have happened while incarcerated currently?
Yes. They still happen
In
regularly.
your cell, in the common areas, where they happen?
Most of the time it's in my room
In your cell?
or in the restroom, yeah.
Room or restroom? Okay. Any times when other inmates were around?
Yes,
Okay. So common areas?
yes,
Okay. And you're aware that these areas are filmed, correct?
yes,
This would be on camera.
yep,
Okay. So you're telling me that you experienced a panic attack where you curled in a ball on camera at the prison?
yes. In the foyer of one of my units, somebody came up behind me and scared me, and
Do you know approximately when that was?
I have well, I can give you a date range because there's a certain time I was in that unit.
Right, please
It
do
would
so.
be somewhere between end of August of 24, and beginning of January of 2025.
Okay.
That was the time I was in that.
All right, thank you. I just wanted to make sure we
Mhm.
understand each other about panics.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead, Ms. Wilson.
Let me clarify, you said August of 2024 through January of 2025?
Yes, I was in, I can give you the name of the unit if
Yes,
you
that
want
would be helpful.
it. Gladwin A.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So, Ms. Vander Ark, now it seems like we're all on the same page about what you mean when you say panic or disassociate.
Yes,
Okay. And it's fair to say it's your testimony that you had that sort of episode mid-trial during your cross-examination. Is that your
Yes.
testimony?
yes,
Now, are you aware, though, in People's Exhibit 2, that criminal responsibility report that I previously placed in the record, that it was noted by the clinician that your claims of disassociating, quote, only occurred when Timothy was bad? Are you aware of that in the report?
no, I'm not, because that's not true.
Okay. And overall, the opinion of the clinician was that when you described your current state, you did not describe any substantial functional impairments within the context of your current confinement.
If I said that, that's not true.
Well, that was his opinion.
That was his opinion? Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know he said that, but that's,
And here, let's go further. On page 10, Your Honor, if I may approach. I'm showing the witness People's Exhibit 2, page 10. All right, Ms. Vander Ark, if you would look at that, and would you read right where that star starts? Please read that into the record.
Ms. Vander Ark was asked to recount her thoughts, feelings, and behaviors around the time of the alleged offense. However, Ms. Vander Ark claimed to have no memory of the events that led to Timothy's death, noting she frequently dissociated due to the stress of interacting with him.
And you can keep reading. Please read the whole paragraph.
Of note, this immediately appeared to be a self-protective response style as opposed to the result of a genuine memory deficit or bona fide dissociative condition. That is, her purported memory loss was noticeably selective and only involved the actions that allegedly caused the victim's passing. Thus, Ms. Vander Ark cannot be considered a credible historian. That's not true, but...
So, Ms. Vander Ark, we don't have an opinion from an expert that you were incompetent, correct?
Yes,
But we do have an opinion from an expert that you're not a credible historian, correct?
looks like it.
And that's specifically as it relates to your credibility about these disassociations you claim to have, correct?
That I have, yes.
That you claim to have, correct? Have you been diagnosed medically in any of these reports with a dissociative condition?
Not in those reports, no.
Now, you, one of your claims in this post-conviction motion is that you take issue with Mr. Johnson not calling an expert, correct?
If that's what's in there, then we discussed it briefly. I didn't know what he was doing, so as far as if he was going to call him or not.
So I just want to make sure I'm clear. You weren't sure if Mr. Johnson was going to call the expert or if we weren't going to have the expert here at this hearing? I just want-
For a while, I wasn't sure if he was going to call him at the trial.
Okay.
Sorry.
But you do recall meeting with Dr. King,
Oh,
correct?
yeah.
Yes. How did you feel that meeting went with Dr. King?
Long.
Was it thorough?
I would assume so, yeah. I mean, I don't remember the whole thing, but I know it was exhausting.
Mm-hmm. Now, Dr. King also has some opinions as it relates to your credibility as a historian, correct?
I don't know.
You don't know? Okay. So I'm looking here at Defendant's Exhibit B, page 10. And Ms. Vander Ark, I'm going to just start here where it says conclusion. Ms. Vander Ark overreported general psychological dysfunction and generated a larger than average number of infrequent responses. Are you aware that that was determined based on your psychological testing?
I mean, I think I've read it before.
You have no reason to dispute
No,
what
I'm
he
not
has in this
disputing.
report.
I'm not disputing.
In fact, you actually attached this report to your motion for a new trial, correct?
Yep, my attorney did, yes.
On your behalf, though,
Yes,
correct? Yes. And so we have one clinician saying that you're not a credible historian and another saying that you overreport general psychological dysfunction, correct?
That's what they say.
Ms. Vander Ark, there is no medical opinion now that determined you were not competent to proceed with trial, correct?
Correct.
You have no medical evidence today that you've presented at this hearing, correct?
Correct. But nobody bothered to get any.
Your Honor, I'd move to strike that non-responsive answer from the record.
I will.
Thank you.
Is non-responsive.
So I'm going to shift gears here a little bit. In your direct examination, you've provided multiple other individuals that you want to place blame on for what happened in your criminal case. Is that fair to say?
I mean, I'm not going to dispute it, yes. I don't remember all that testimony.
Well, just today. Today,
Okay.
you said that it was your ex-husband's fault that Timothy came into your care, correct?
Well, he asked me, yes. That's what he told me, and that's why I took him.
And it's your testimony that it's the jail's fault for your housing situation that exacerbated your mental health, correct?
I didn't have any choice in the matter, so yes.
So that's a yes or no. Are you blaming the jail for your mental health?
For making it worse, yes.
So we have, you're blaming the jail, you're blaming your ex-husband. Now, you've also blamed Timothy today, didn't you?
As far as what?
As far as his behaviors causing you to act the way you acted.
As far as causing chaos, yes. I mean, as far as causing stress, yes.
And now you blamed work as well, saying that caused stress. Your employment before your arrest.
I mean, work always causes stress.
This has been a consistent theme for you, where you want to blame others for things you've done, correct?
I explained the situation.
Well, so what you're saying, it's your ex-husband's fault, it's the jail's fault, it's Timothy's fault, it's now your trial attorney's fault that we're here. So is it fair to say it's a theme of yours to point the finger at others for what's going on in your case?
I wouldn't say it's a theme, no. That's an opinion. You can see
All right.
the things that I had no say in, that you can't blame me for.
Now, let's talk about those the testimony you had about your being held in, you said it was max security during the
Yes.
pretrial phase?
Yes.
Correct? You said you were locked in there and isolated?
In a room by myself, yes.
Okay, yes. Was Timothy also locked in a room and isolated when you locked him in the closet?
He wasn't locked in, but he was in the room, yes.
Okay. When you had alarms on his door to keep him in that closet, was he isolated?
Yes.
And he'd be locked in there for hours at a time, correct?
I would assume so, yes. I don't,
Yes or no? Was he locked in there for hours at a time?
yes.
And you want the court to use your isolation as a basis for making a determination about your mental health, correct?
It has an effect on it, yes, it does.
What about Timothy's mental health? What impact did your locking him away, isolated, have on his mental health?
I have no idea how to answer that.
Truthfully, that's what you're here to do.
That is truthfully. I have no idea how to answer that.
Now, you talked about some of his diagnoses, correct?
Yes.
Obviously, it wouldn't be beneficial to him to be isolated like that, correct?
Yes. I mean, he isolated himself too. He did not. I offered to, there were kids in the neighborhood, and I actually specifically asked them. He wasn't the most coordinated kid in the world, but they were playing basketball one day, and I said, hey, can he come over? They said, anytime. He never wanted to do that. When we went to little man's baseball games, he stuck to himself or with us. He didn't want to go talk to the older kids.
So it's your testimony that Timothy isolated himself.
Some of the time. Not all the time, but some of the time.
Timothy, who you went to such lengths to keep away from your in-laws that you were tracking their location so that your child G would be outside when his grandparents arrived, is the one that isolated himself.
I did not. That was not the point of finding out where Mom was. It was because the house was a mess. It wasn't. It had nothing to do with Timothy. That thought it hadn't even entered my mind until I got asked about it at trial.
You expect the judge to believe that Timothy did this to himself, correct?
Can you define this?
Well, that's what your testimony is
I'm
that he
saying-
isolated himself.
I said some of the time, and you said this, that's
Okay, I'll clarify. He isolated himself in that closet
some of the times downstairs,
where he had nothing but a tarp in there. He isolated himself in there. Is that your testimony?
he tore apart a mattress. But
That was not an answer.
some
My
of the time,
question.
I said some of the time.
Did he isolate himself in those ice baths?
I wasn't there for that.
But you ordered it, correct?
I don't remember.
You had a cell phone at the time this happened, right?
Yes,
And you were messaging with your other son, Paul, correct?
yes.
And those messages speak for themselves, right?
I'm not disputing the messages. I'm just telling you what I do and don't remember.
Now, you testified earlier today that during the time after your husband's stroke, you were, quote, barely surviving. Do you remember testifying to that?
Yes,
You were surviving just fine. It was Timothy that was barely surviving, correct?
I wasn't aware of enough of what was going on around me. I wasn't, I admit that.
Now, another claim in your post-conviction motion is how your attorney, Mr. Johnson, handled the surveillance video from that closet, correct?
The motion about it, yes. Oh, yes, I know what you're talking about, yes, from the
Okay.
brief.
And so you are claiming that it was ineffective or deficient of Mr. Johnson to let the police officer testify to the contents of that video, correct?
I mean, if that's what's, I trust my attorney with that, so,
Did you observe that video?
no.
You were in that video, though, to your knowledge, correct?
As far as I know, yes.
And that video has been described by multiple individuals as extremely graphic and haunting. Are you aware of that?
I think I've heard that, yes.
And that video actually, in fact, shows your son take his final breath. Are you aware of that?
I did not know that, no.
And it shows what you were doing in the time leading up to him taking that final breath. Are you aware of that?
I would assume so.
Are you aware that it shows you being extremely cruel to him in those moments?
I don't know.
You're also aware that after he's passed away, it depicts you dragging him out of that closet. Are you aware of that?
I remember performing CPR, so I guess was what happened before that.
Okay, one second. Thank you. Are you aware that at the end of that video, after you pull him out, there's audio about telling him to stop faking it?
I have no idea what was in it.
Are you also aware that before he passes away, you call him a dummy?
There was something said about that at trial. We all say stupid things.
So it's your testimony that that was just a stupid thing to say to your dying son?
A
To
stupid,
insult him?
it's a stupid thing to say to your child, period. That's what
Yet
I'm
you
saying.
said it, correct?
Yes, I mean, I'm not disputing it.
Do you believe that your attorney should have let the jury view that video in its entirety?
No,
Okay. So you think it's probably a good trial strategy to shield the jurors from seeing you on video insult your dying son, correct?
yes,
It's probably a good trial strategy to not have the jurors personally witness his last breaths, correct?
yes,
And it's probably a good trial strategy to not have the jurors observe you telling him he's faking it when he's already dead, correct?
Yes.
Now, it's your testimony that during the trial, there was some discussion about the manslaughter instruction, correct?
What do you mean? I'm sorry, can you rephrase that?
So you testified on direct that when Mr. Johnson came to the jail, he was discussing jury instructions.
Oh, you mean this hearing? Yes, I'm sorry.
I'm
I
sorry,
was
not this
confused.
hearing, I apologize, the trial. During the trial, there was a discussion that Mr. Johnson had with you about the manslaughter instruction.
Yes.
You know, I'm going to ask a couple of questions that sort of dovetail off of the court's questions here, though. And I'm sorry to go backwards, but you said when you're having these dissociative episodes, you have involuntary movements?
Mhm.
I'm sorry, it's being recorded, so is that
Yes, I'm sorry.
And let me ask you this, was it an involuntary movement for you to grab the garbage can while you were testifying? Or was that intentional?
I don't know what you mean. I mean, I was going to throw up.
Okay,
It was
so
right
did
there.
you make the choice to extend your arms and grab it?
Yeah.
And did you make the choice to lean your body over?
I don't know. I don't know on that. I mean, I was about to throw up, so,
Did it happen by accident that you were positioned that way?
I mean, no.
Okay. Are you aware there was no vomit in that garbage can once you left the courtroom?
I have no idea.
It's because you faked the vomit, correct?
I didn't fake anything. I dry heave all the time. I dry heave from motion sickness before I got the motion sickness meds I used this morning for the trip over.
Okay, let's talk about that. So didn't you claim at the last hearing that you had some motion sickness on the way into court?
Yes, I did.
And do you recall whether or not that was supported by any of your transport team?
I remember they said that they had glanced at me in the mirror. I mean, I know I was dry heaving. I didn't actually throw up anything, but that's because I didn't eat intentionally, because I knew I get motion
So do
sick.
you remember, I believe there was some in-court inquiry to your Department of corrections officers. Do you remember them saying something from these seats back here at the last hearing?
I remember them talking from there, yes.
Okay, and I believe the judge, and I don't have the transcript, but I believe the court may have even sworn them in briefly for a couple
One
of
of them, yes.
One of them, yes. And it was as to your claims of motion sickness, or how you were feeling on the transport.
How I
correct?
was feeling on the transport, yes.
And there's no mention of you vomiting in that transport van, correct?
No, I dry heaved. I didn't have anything on my stomach to throw up, thankfully.
Ms. Vander Ark, you were here for that November hearing, correct?
Yes,
And you sat in the courtroom while the other witnesses testified, correct?
yes.
Is it your testimony today that they all were lying about what happened in the jail before the Friday start of the trial?
What do you mean?
Well, so let's talk about it. We had multiple individuals who testified about your desire to not come to court, correct?
I know at least one said that, and I do remember making comment, I don't want to, but most of it was I can't.
Okay, but you did say the words, "I don't
I
want to."
do, yeah.
Is that a yes?
Yes,
And you ultimately memorialized that in an affidavit.
yes.
And you don't dispute that that is something you signed, correct?
No, I don't dispute it, I signed it.
Do you remember, actually, let me strike that, let me rephrase. Ms. Kentucky testified about her observations of you
Yes,
that morning, correct?
yes, she did. Although hers were different than Fred's and mine, but some of them.
It's fair to say you have some selective memory about what you remember from that morning, correct?
It's not selective at all. I still have memory issues to this day.
So it's fair to say, though, you remember some of the things, enough to
Some
say
of it.
Miss Kateki's is different than yours.
Well, because I sat there and I was the one that wrote the affidavit. And I sat here when Mr. Johnson said that, and officer said that I was curled into a ball on the floor, and then she said I was up in a chair, that it wasn't as bad. But he described it, I mean, the most accurate total description was what he did, what he described and the officers described. Hers wasn't as accurate.
So you're saying that Mr. Johnson's description of you that morning is accurate?
From what he said, as far as curled up into a ball and not able to communicate, yes.
So I said yes or no. Mr. Johnson's testimony about that morning is accurate.
As far as I remember I'd have to go
Yes
back.
or
and-
no?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I have nothing further.
All right, Mr. Andrews.
Are you saying all of Mr. Johnson's testimony was accurate?
Absolutely not.
Okay,
Not even close.
all right. You were seen by a number of professionals, correct?
Yes, sir.
One of those professionals is Dr. Colin King, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And the prosecution mentioned that on page 10, there is a conclusion part, and you testified as to that, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
The ultimate conclusion on page 11 of Dr. Collins' report, can you read that, the highlighted portion?
Yes, sir. After reviewing the text messages with Ms. Vander Ark and the police report, Ms. Vander Ark continues to insist that she did nothing wrong and was not convinced that her actions and instructions caused the death of her son. This clinician is of the opinion that Ms. Vander Ark truly believes that her actions were appropriate and not harmful.
Okay, and this is a report that Mr. Johnson gave you?
Yes.
And you talked about this with Mr. Johnson?
I don't remember how much we talked about that.
Okay. As far as you're aware that you've always expressed your innocence to Mr. Johnson.
Absolutely.
Did you ever concede or ask him to concede to anything?
Absolutely not. I never would have.
Now, after day 3, after your testimony, were you seen by any medical personnel?
No.
On day 4, were you seen by any medical personnel?
No, sir.
I have nothing further.
No, Your Honor, thank you.
I have some questions. Ms. Vander Ark, I think you testified at the beginning of your testimony for Mr. Ambrose, is that you said on day 1, Mr. Johnson told you that you had to testify. Is that true?
No, I said I knew I had to
You
testify.
knew you had to testify?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And did that conclusion come from the conversation between the two of you? Or was that something that you were already had concluded in your mind even before you talked to him?
I think it was mostly I concluded, we discussed it, but I
So-
kind of knew
so-
that from the first time, or the
So
first
you
day.
knew it, so you're telling me this idea of you testifying came independently even before you had spoken to Mr. Johnson?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then did Mr. Johnson discourage that idea? Did he encourage that idea?
He agreed with me the whole way. We
Okay, so
talked
he
about
agreed.
that multiple times, and the whole process, and we always said I had to testify. There was never a question in that.
You said that Mr. Johnson, the discussions between the two of you had largely centered around that the prosecution had to prove intentional acts. Is that true?
For the child abuse charge, yes.
Okay.
Intentionally or knowingly.
Intentional and knowingly. Okay. And you said you two agreed that, based on what you were telling him, that intentional and knowingly had not occurred.
That's correct.
Okay. Was there ever discussion after that about, well, it's potentially, there could be a negligence argument here?
No, we never
Never talked
discussed
about
it.
negligence.
Never.
You had indicated that you saw Mr. Johnson, you said around 2 to 3 times during that first month after you were arrested and taken to the jail. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. After that, you used the phrase, "I saw him once in a blue moon." Can you give me an approximation how often that you believe you saw him going forward, once a month,
Oh,
twice a month?
It wasn't, I think when he testified, he said once every other month. I don't feel like it was even that often, but I
So
don't know.
What's your independent memory of how often you came?
I would say once every few months,
Once every few months?
Yes,
You
sir.
mean 3 months?
at least 3, yes, sir.
So once every 3 months. All right. Did that frequency increase as the trial approached?
I don't feel like it did. I mean, there was a couple at the end that were closer together, but
The month before the trial, can you tell me how many times you remember him visiting you?
I'm thinking 1, 2. There was 2 actual visits, and then we came in here for 20 minutes
Okay.
to do a little bit of prep, just a few minutes.
I want to make sure, I should have prefaced what I was saying. When we talk about Mr. Johnson, I mean himself,
Yes.
not any other member of his team.
No, I mean,
Okay, so those that you were testifying to was Mr. Johnson himself? Is that
Yes.
correct? Okay. Were there any other members of his quote-unquote team that had come and talked to you outside of those times that Mr. Johnson had come individually? So separate from Mr. Johnson?
You mean just before trial, or what do you mean?
No, well, let's start, you said 2 or 3 times Mr. Johnson the first month. Was there anybody else from his quote-unquote, let me go back. What did you know of his team? What did you consider his team to be?
I knew he had some interns. He had the original social worker, I don't remember her name, I'm sorry, I'm bad with
So
names.
social worker,
She came in once a week to the jail for a while.
okay, once a week. Okay.
And then that was it. We came in for a hearing, I think it was to something about competency, and Nick Goings was there.
Okay.
So I knew he was on the team. And then both the social worker and Fred had mentioned a research attorney.
Okay, did you ever meet the research?
No, I did not.
So you believe 2 interns, research attorney, at least 1 other attorney, Mr. Goings, and you believed he was an attorney, correct?
Yes, oh, I knew he was.
And Mr. Johnson, is there any, and the social worker, was there anybody else that you knew was on this team?
Not specifically, I know. He would say he had people working on it, but that's
All right, and you're saying the social worker came in every week?
for a while, before that one left. She left the public defender's office.
Okay, do you know approximately when?
I
she
have
stopped
no
coming to
idea.
see you? Okay.
I'm sorry,
That's
but
okay. And then when a new one took over, did that social worker come?
I saw her twice, I think, in person
Twice.
before trial.
Okay, all right. In terms of the interns, how often did you see an intern?
They actually did not come like he had said they would.
They never came?
One came with him, it was the same one a couple of times.
Okay.
I don't know, 2 or 3 times. It was there at the end. She sat in on the trial too.
So did an intern ever come independently of Mr. Johnson?
No.
Okay. I read your affidavit. One of the arguments advanced by your attorney and you in the affidavit was that Mr. Johnson did not argue what you felt. Well, let me ask you a question. The dehydration argument, was that to you, should have been the primary argument?
I did not even know about that until the medical examiner testified.
Okay.
So when I realized that, I asked him to ask about it, but I think he only asked one question and that was it. I didn't even know about that until that day.
Okay, in your affidavit, it says, and this is one of the paragraphs, this is page 11. It says, the medical examiner stated that one of the main causes of death was dehydration. It says, I specifically asked Mr. Johnson to examine this much deeper. There was no accusation against me regarding depriving Timothy of water. This alone could have raised a reasonable doubt that Mr. Johnson never pursued the subject at all. When you make the statement, I specifically asked Mr. Johnson to examine this much deeper, are you saying, was this before the trial, or was this after you heard the medical examiner testify?
This was after I heard the medical examiner testify.
Okay, so it's your testimony, and when you said you asked Mr. Johnson to examine this much deeper, was that during a break after the ME had testified?
No, it was in the middle of it. I wrote him a note.
Well, you wrote him a note.
Yes.
Could you recall what the note said?
I put dehydration question mark exclamation point. And I said, please ask more about this because
That's
he
what
had
you wrote
access
on
to
there.
water. Yes, sir.
Okay.
And it's your testimony that he did not?
No.
Okay. Um, I don't want to go too much into what could have, should have. Did Timothy have access to the water?
Yes, he did.
Okay. Was he cognitively capable of getting water on his own?
Yes, he was on the spectrum, but the only symptom he really showed was awkwardness. He was grade level, he was passing all his classes, and, you know, he could he did interact with some people at little men's baseball games, but he just was awkward. He didn't want to hang out around other kids. And he was 15. He was, you know, you try to hug him, he's like, Mom, go away. But no, he could communicate just fine. Trust me, he could communicate just fine.
And I just want to be clear what you believe the argument that should have been made. You believe the argument that should have been advanced to the jury was that Timothy caused his own death by not drinking water.
I mean, I think that something should have come up. There was, and I just told Miss I probably can't even. Okay.
Is that the argument? Is that the argument that you believe should have been advanced to the jury, that Timothy caused his own death because he stopped drinking water?
I think it should have been mentioned, yes. He had suicidal stuff before I got him, so he was
So he had
hospitalized.
suicidal stuff?
Yeah, he was actually hospitalized for suicidal ideation. His stepmom told me that.
Okay. So you believe that an argument should have been made that Timothy essentially consciously caused his own death? He was suicidal. He committed suicide.
I mean, I don't know what happened, so, but
Well,
it's,
I know that. I
yeah.
understand that. But I'm trying to.
I think it should have been brought up, yes.
Okay, all right. I understand. Okay. Did your concerns with Mr. Johnson's representation, did those arise prior to the trial?
I was worried about it along the way, yes.
Okay. Did you ever attempt to bring those concerns, to the court's attention?
No,
Okay.
I wasn't in good shape. Remember, the time I was isolated, I wasn't eating, I wasn't sleeping.
Okay.
I was not in good shape.
You had the ability to write letters, correct?
Yes, but I didn't have any, I mean, for the most part, at first I had a little bit of money on my account, but I didn't have any
Well, you
envelopes or
can write
anything.
cuts, correct? in jail?
Yes, yeah.
Right. Those are free, correct?
Yeah, you can write them, they go to your attorney.
Were you aware that you could send one to the court?
No, I was not.
Now, you were in court a couple of times before trial, is that correct?
Yes.
All right. Is there a reason you did not bring that issue to the court at the time of those hearings?
I didn't want to speak out of turn. I mean, I wasn't thinking about it right then, but I just, you know, those hearings were for certain purposes.
So you didn't feel that you could directly bring those to the court?
Yes, yes.
Right. Just below that paragraph on page 11, it says, I testified for around 5 hours on the Thursday of trial. I was supposed to finish my testimony on Friday, including some very important questions that I wanted Mr. Johnson to ask me before I finished testifying. Do you recall what those questions were?
For the most part, no. I remember one of them because I lose weight really fast. And so, you know, I know there were some questions about Timothy's size along the way. And then we also talked, because he's 6'1" and was like 130 pounds, and I'm small. And I was going to have him ask me about how quickly I lose weight, because if I don't eat for a day, I'll lose a couple pounds that fast. So I wanted him to bring that up.
So you wanted him to ask how quickly you lose weight?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, family genetics. I mean, my mama did the same thing.
Okay. Now, any other questions that you can recall?
Not that I remember, no.
All right.
I didn't have a pen or paper to write them down. I didn't have that available when they put me down in the holding cell. What paper I had where I was at, I didn't have access to it.
Okay. These questions that you had contemplated, those were, I'm trying to figure out when you formed those questions in your mind. Was that on Thursday or was that on Friday?
Thursday afternoon.
Thursday
evening.
afternoon.
Thursday evening, yeah, after trial.
Thursday evening, okay. At the the time that these questions were formed, were you suffering from a panic attack?
No, it was after that.
Okay. Friday morning, did you formulate any additional questions?
Not that I remember, no.
I want to know there's a lot in your affidavits about what was going on in the holding cell, that you curl up into a ball, you're barely able to communicate. You asked Mr. Johnson to postpone the trial, and you recall what his response was?
Yes.
I want to know, do you independently remember that, or is that your affidavit, is that based on what someone else told you happened?
No, I remember that small portion of it. I remember bits and pieces. I remember other parts of the morning as well, but that's it. No, I remember laying there. I was curled up, and because he testified that he had explained options to me and he did not. I asked at least 2 or 3 times to adjourn because I couldn't do it, and he said that, you know, it's just going to be the same, and that they just go on without me.
Okay. So those things you can remember, but other things you don't remember, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so when during these panic attacks, it sounds like you have, if I say lucidity, you know what that means?
Yes.
Okay, so you're saying during these panic attacks, there are brief moments of lucidity during these panic attacks, where you remember them, where you can cognitively understand what people are saying.
Not usually during a panic attack. It wasn't one solid panic attack. It was multiple panic attacks that morning, but there was times where I wasn't actually in the middle of a panic attack.
So you're saying that what you recall independently of these communications is when you were not suffering a panic attack.
Yes.
So the recollections that you have are from non-panic attack instances, correct?
Yes.
That's all the questions I have. Thank you, Ms. Vander Ark.
Yes.
Any follow-up, Mr. Abrams, to those questions? Mr. Abrams?
As far as you're aware, when was the last time that either you or Paul provided food to?
I want to say it was the day before he passed. I think Paul said he'd given him something.
Okay. All right, I have no further questions.
Any follow-up?
So, Ms. Vander Ark, it's your testimony that Mr. Johnson should have probed dehydration, correct?
Yes, he knew about it the whole time and never mentioned it to me.
Knew about it too, correct?
What do you mean?
Well, let's go back. Were you at your preliminary examination?
Yes.
You attended it?
Yes.
And do you remember the testimony of Dr. Joyce DeYoung,
At the preliminary? The medical
the
examiner?
medical examiner?
I don't remember her testifying at the
Do you have
preliminary.
any reason to contest the certified transcript of the preliminary examination?
No.
And in fact, on page 87 of your preliminary examination, the forensic pathologist testified his cause of death was dehydration and extreme emaciation due to malnutrition and starvation. Any reason to contest that?
No, I don't even remember her testifying.
Now, there was also, I'm sorry, I cut her testimony off short though, but a significant contributing factor of exogenous hypothermia, so exposure to cold, end quote. Any reason to contest that?
No, she's the medical expert.
The reason he had hypothermia is because he was in water for hours before his death, correct?
That's not what Paul told me. Paul had run.
I didn't ask you what Paul told you.
If that's what
The
she
evidence
said.
showed that Timothy was in an ice bath for hours before his death, correct?
Not the whole time, because we didn't have enough ice for that.
Okay, well, let's go to this. You had an ice maker on your counter at the house, correct?
Yes.
And that ice maker was used to put ice cubes into a bath, correct?
Yes.
And you
Yes,
were
I know.
aware of that?
Yes.
And ice is technically water, correct?
Yes.
And bathtub water is water, correct?
Yes.
So yes, it's fair to say you did not restrict his access to water when you ordered ice baths, correct?
I'll go with it. That's a really weird question, but I'll go with
Well, okay. You weren't keeping him dry by ordering ice baths for him, correct?
it. That's a really weird question.
Well, ma'am, you are saying that Timothy committed suicide by not drinking water.
I didn't say that. I said it was possible and it should have been explored because of his previous history.
Well, do you understand that if it had been explored, that there'd be further questions about the ice baths?
I don't know.
Because naturally a bath contains water, correct?
Yes.
Which was a punishment that you ordered for your son, correct?
Once or twice, yes.
Now, you also said that your attorney asked you when was the last time Timothy was provided food. Do you recall that?
Yes.
Do you recall having conversations about putting food in front of his face and pulling it away?
No, I don't.
But you have no reason to contest those
I'm not
text messages,
contesting.
correct? I'm sorry, let me finish my question before you answer, okay? You have no reason to contest those text messages, correct?
Correct.
And so if they say that you said to essentially tease your starving son with a pizza roll, that Paul should do it.
If that's what it said, I'm not contesting it.
You also ordered that he be provided hot sauce, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Is that the food you're talking about with your attorney, saying you provided food?
No, not as far as I know.
You also ordered that he have hot sauce placed on his genitals, correct?
It's what the text messages says.
Is that the food that you say you provided to him before his death?
No.
Now, the medical examiner didn't determine that your son died from suicide, correct?
That's correct.
But now you're here telling the court that he was suicidal.
I didn't say for sure he was. I said it never got raised.
Well, you sort of raised it in that video that you said that your attorney should have played, correct?
What do you mean I raised it in the video?
On the morning you discovered Timothy was non-responsive in that closet. Okay, you following along with me?
Yes.
So that morning, when you discover he's non-responsive in the closet, you have discussions with Paul about telling authorities that Timothy was on a hunger strike, correct?
I'm not disputing it. I don't.
Did you, in fact, tell Paul that we need to say he's on a hunger strike?
I don't remember. If that's what it was in there, then I'm not contesting it, but I don't know. I don't remember.
And now you're saying he was on a drinking strike too, correct?
I'm saying it should have been explored. There's a big difference.
This is just another scheme of yours to try to blame Timothy for his own death, isn't it?
Not at all. There is no scheme.
Okay, maybe not the right word. Your testimony is blaming Timothy for his own death,
I'm not
correct?
blaming anybody. I'm saying there's possibilities that should have been raised.
Well,
He
you're
had a
saying he was
history of suicidal.
So you're saying he was suicidal?
I don't know. I never even thought about the possibility until that morning in court. Because I honestly do not remember the medical examiner testifying at prelim. I don't.
You didn't think about the possibility until you were trying to find out a way to blame Mr. Johnson to get a new trial, is that correct?
No, that's not true.
I have nothing further.
Mr. Ambrose.
Have you seen the death certificate?
Yes. I didn't see it till that morning of trial.
Until when?
Until the morning I testified.
Okay. Do you recall what the first thing that is listed on this death certificate is?
It's dehydration.
Right. And that's kind of strange, right?
It's really odd.
Because he's in an ice bath, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he has access to water, right?
Yes.
And so
He didn't.
he didn't drink.
No.
You never prevented him from drinking.
No.
All right. No further questions.
Any thoughts?
No.
All right, stand up, can you stand up? All right, Mr. Ambrose, any additional witnesses?
I do not.
the?
No, Your Honor, just if the court would recall, we took my witnesses out of order last hearing. I have no further witnesses.
Okay. I'll set the cameras. Anything else, Mr. Abrams?
No.
All right, I think it's important for the court, based on the testimony of Ms. Vander Ark regarding failure to raise concerns to the court. Ms. Vander Ark, I want to make sure, and address you directly at this point, so you are free to talk to the court. I need to know if you believe that your attorney, Mr. Ambrose, is a little awkward, but is there anything that you believe he should do going forward at this point in time in regarding to your motion for a new trial?
No,
Are you satisfied with his representation?
very much so, yes.
Any other witnesses you want him to call?
No,
Is there anything else you want him to do?
no.
Okay, all right, good enough. All right, I think that's the evidence is concluded. The court is going to take the matter under advisement. The court will issue a written opinion, and then we'll go from there. All right.
I'm assuming that Mr. Roberts is not testifying?
No, no, he's not.
Okay. That was mentioned at the last hearing that he may be testifying, and I was kind of prepping for that. and-
You want to call him as a witness?
No, that's all right.
Okay, you sure?
Yeah.
Ms. Van Ark, do you want him to testify? Mr. Roberts? Okay. All right, good enough. We're in recess. Good day, good weekend.
So they're not coming back? They're done? He said written opinion, but they're for sure not coming back. So when are we going to find out? I mean, he said have a good weekend though. So it's not like because recess, I'm like, wait, does that mean they're coming back? But then he said have a good weekend. So they're not coming back. Dang it. Let me see what the local channel, if they say anything. Let's hear. Let's see if they come on. I'm just kind of curious their thoughts. I want to see if they end the live stream or if they come back. No, he said have a good weekend. I could be wrong. I mean, but why did he say, okay, have a good weekend? I'll keep it up. But I mean, I think if he was coming back, he'd be like, okay, we'll be back 15. Nope, it's done. He would have said like, okay, we'll be back in 15 minutes or whatever. Yeah. Yeah, no, I don't blame the judge. He needs to make sure because then they could try to appeal that or whatever. He has to make sure he's fair. And he knows dang well, even if he would give her a new trial, she's going to get convicted again. She's not getting out. There's too much evidence. And I wasn't saying I think that that's why he died is dehydration. I was saying her argument is the lawyers at least didn't give her those options. I'm not saying that she should get it, but I'm saying I get why the judge has to ask her those things. And if he were to give her another one, she's going to get convicted all over. You know what I'm saying? It's ridiculous. I mean, she did this to him. It's sick. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue Paul's testimony. And then I'm going to try to, gosh, I don't know if I want to even watch that Timothy video. That's hard to watch. I was going to play it. It actually is hard. Like, I don't, has anybody not seen that video? Put a okay, so put a 1 in the chat if you've seen the video of Timothy that in the closet, like the whole video where Paul's yelling at him and Shanda drags him in. Put a 1 if you've seen it and a 2 if you haven't seen it. Because if everybody's seen it, I'm not going to replay it. But if people want to see it, put a 1 if you have and a 2 if not. 2 is if you haven't seen it. I want to see how many people. Whoa, okay, so I guess there are people. Do you guys want to see it? I'm gonna play this. I'm gonna get my coffee. We'll watch Paul while I get my coffee, and then I'll get that part ready of the video, and we'll decide. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'll give you a warning, hope if I'm gonna play it. I'm just going. I want to go by what you guys want to do. Okay. Um, it's bad. I mean, I out of all the cases, I've been doing this for over 7 years, covering cases, and that. Okay, so first of all, the picture and the text messages that I didn't show on my channel when I read the text messages because people have this double standard on what I can show and what other people could show. It's ridiculous. So back then I didn't show it, the picture. But even seeing that picture from the text messages, the reaction was it was the biggest worst reaction I've ever had. Any cases I've seen, everything I've seen and crime scene photos, something about that was the hardest I've seen it. And now that video came out, like I said, I didn't put it on my channel because of course back then I mean people were just, but you know what? Another channel has it. Everybody's saying, "Oh, it's, this guy did a great job for showing it, blah blah blah." So it's like, you know what? People want to have the double standard and argue, but yet somebody else could show it and they say good job. If you guys want to see it, so I watched that when he put it out like about a month, I think like a month ago or so when it came out. And, that's even worse than the picture because it's a video. It's hard. I mean, I admit it's hard. It'll stay with you and it is hard to see. So if you guys are debating whether you could handle it, I would say caution on the safe side and not because that'll be in your mind all day and it is really hard. But if you want to, it's up to you what you could handle. But it's the hardest thing I've ever seen out of all the cases and I've seen a lot. I don't know why it is hard. It's But yeah, okay, I'm gonna play this and then I will get my coffee and then we'll watch it. Yes, it's bad. It really is. So, I mean, that's why I wanted to kind of talk with you guys if you guys want to see it. All right, I'm gonna play this. I'm gonna get my coffee and then I'll get that part set up. Because I'm only gonna just play that part of the person's video. Oh man. And I think another thing is like being so close to this case because I was so deep in this case for how long, covering all, every day pretty much. Um, so I became you know what I'm saying? You almost become to really know the victims and you know what I'm saying? So being so close to the case too. Um, yeah, it's tough. Okay. Let me play this. I'm gonna get my coffee and then I'll set it up. All right. We'll be back.
Um, Could you please reiterate?
Yeah, I guess a better way of saying it is who made the decision for him to stop taking his medication?
Shanda.
As far as you know, from the time that Timothy came to live with you in May of 2021 in Norton Shores to the time of his death, did you ever see Timothy go to a doctor?
No,
Did Timothy go to school?
not public, no.
How was he schooled?
Home.
And when we say homeschool, what would that entail?
At first, it was assignments on a tablet, and then my mother restricted it to where she would print out the assignments, and he would sit downstairs and do them.
So he never went to school and never went to a doctor, as far as you could see.
Yes, sir.
Basically, from January, from the time of the stroke moving forward, was Timothy allowed to even leave the house?
No.
When, if ever, was he ever allowed to go outside?
To walk the dogs sometimes?
And when he would walk the dogs, where was it that he would walk the dogs?
In the backyard, out of sight.
Was there ever some physical discipline that was involved with him being outside as well?
Yes.
What was that discipline?
He was made to run up and down the patio stairs.
And those are stairs in the back of your house?
Yes, sir.
Are those visible at all from the front of the house?
No, sir.
Visible to anyone walking by on the street or driving by, anything of that nature?
No, sir.
There are some text messages referenced in there where where there's a discussion about doing the stairs chasing style. What is that, if you remember?
Following close behind him to ensure he moves faster.
And who would be the one that would chase him if that was taking place?
I had to.
What was, besides, you've talked about some of the special needs that Timothy had when he came to live with you. What was his overall physical appearance, though, when he first came to live with you?
He wasn't skinny, but he wasn't extremely overweight. He had a good amount of chubbiness to him.
So he was a little chubby?
Yes.
Obviously, as we all know, and now the jury's already seen some of the photographs, that went away at some point in time. When did the food restriction on Timothy start, with the locks going on the refrigerator, the freezer, and the pantry, and things of that nature? When did that actually begin?
Sometime in February.
There's been some testimony already about Timothy going on a hunger strike around the time of Adam's stroke. To your knowledge, did Timothy ever go on a hunger strike when Adam had his stroke?
No, sir.
There's also a reference to him going on another hunger strike about 2 weeks before he passed away. Excuse me, did that happen?
No, sir.
The police have indicated that at the time they searched your residence, there were a number of cameras seized, as well as some other items. So let's talk about the cameras first. What was the purpose of the cameras being inside the residence?
To watch Timothy.
And who would be watching Timothy on those cameras?
My mother, or when she couldn't, she had me do so.
And how is it that you would, kind of explain for the jury if you can, how is it that you watched the cameras so you could watch what Timothy was doing?
I would log into the app on my phone, and it would alert me if there was a motion movement.
So you had some type of, you had your phone and you had some type of.
I just realized I should explain this to people that are maybe new to this case. This is Paul. He was a big part of the case. He got convicted too. Well, he took a plea deal. Him and his mom, they were both the ones that did this to him. So when Shanda would go at work, he would be there with Timothy. So he's just as much to blame, in my opinion. And especially once you see this video too, and when I read through the text messages. If you guys look at my playlist, if you guys are interested in the case, we read through all the text messages and stuff. I have his jail calls, Shanda's jail calls all on there. Yeah, so he's the one that testified against his mom. And he took a plea deal, but he got 50 years. Wait, what was it? Why do I always forget the number? Hold on. And he thought he was going to get a lot. Everybody thought he was going to get a lot less. And his shock, 30 to 100 years he got. So his first parole will be 30 years where he's up for parole. Now, will he get it? Maybe not. But in reality, I mean, he's what, 18, 19, so 30 years, he'll get time served, you know. So was he 18 or 19 when he got arrested? So, I mean, in reality, he'll still be, I mean, if he got out when he was 30, he would still be like 49. I mean, he would still be somewhat young, but he might not even get out then. I don't know. But he testified against his mom in it. But did they need him? No, I don't think they needed him to convict her because they had all those text messages. So, but yeah, it did make it stronger because he got up there and testified. So that's Paul. You'll see him in this video because he yells at Timothy. It's sick. Okay, hold on. Let me get it ready. I'm gonna play this while I go get it ready.
An app on there that was connected to those cameras.
Several, yes.
And you said that you were also alerted to movement. Were there motion sensors in the home?
Yes, and the cameras also had that feature as well. They activated on motion.
And what was the restriction on Timothy's movement that would cause those cameras to go off? Where was he limited to?
Could you please reiterate?
Yeah. Where is it that, where could Timothy go, basically?
Mainly he was restricted to the downstairs area, to a closet downstairs.
God.
The downstairs area actually contained 2 bedrooms. One was yours and one was G's bedroom. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And there was also a bunk bed that was out in that area that I believe that the defendant indicated was Timothy's bunk bed. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Where did he actually
Okay, you
sleep?
guys, warning. It's so bad. My heart just started pounding when I just looked at him. This video, like my heart starts pounding. That's how much of a reaction. And I've been doing this 7+ years, so I'm not saying I'm desensitized because I'm not, but I'm a little bit because the more you see something, and I've been covering true crime, ordering files for over 7 years, so I'm seeing more things. It's only natural. The more you see stuff, the more. I mean, I don't feel like I am, but I know the more you see things, the more you're used to it, I should say. And my heart pounds when I see this. So if you guys are new to true crime, I don't know, it might be a little bit too much. I want to find this picture though, so you could see kind of when he came to live with them, what he looked like. So you could see that he was a little chubby, like Paul said. So hold on one second.
Most nights.
In the closet.
This, and what did you call the closet? Was there a name you used to refer to the closet?
The small room.
And what was in the small room if Timothy was in the small room?
There was a camera monitoring him, even when he slept.
Was there an alarm on the door as well?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
type of
I
motion
found it.
sensor or alarm?
I
Motion,
found the
but-
picture I wanted to show you. Also, I want to tell you, Fritz texted me when when Shanda was up. If you guys haven't been following this case with me, about maybe 4 months ago, 5 months ago, whatever, I was where did I get that? I ended up ordering some of her jail things to see if there's anything new. And I saw she started talking to this guy named Fritz, and then they were engaged, and she was trying to marry him and stuff. So I talked about him, and I found who he was and had a picture and everything of him, and he contacted me. So he ended up doing like a phone interview with me where I asked him questions, but I just relayed what he said. He didn't want to come on or anything. And then he was in chat. So I asked him some questions and I relayed it. Well, he contacted me. He texted me while we were just watching Shanda. And I said, "Would you be willing? Are you still talking to her?" And he said yes. He just talked to her a couple days ago. He missed her call last night, Shanda's. So I asked him if he'd be willing to answer some questions. So tomorrow I'm supposed to talk to him. So if you guys have any questions you want me to ask him, because he's talking to her. So I mean, he's like, they're trying to get married, but at last I heard he was trying to get it right up there because he has to be in there in person to get married. So they didn't get married yet, but they've been trying for a while to get that situated. So yeah, I mean, it's actually interesting, to get like a look on what Shonda's saying in there with him, because he's not in there. So I think that'd be kind of interesting. I don't know. Yeah, so he still talks to her. So he said tomorrow he'll call me and, decide. I said, will you come on? So I don't know if he's still not going to come on, but maybe at least answer questions. Last time he was in chat answering questions too. So I wanted to just say that real quick. Okay. So that might be coming soon. So this is what Timothy looked like when he first moved in with the Shanda and Paul. Okay. This is Paul, the one on the stand on the right. And this is Timothy, okay? So look, he's not underweight at all. His face is nice and full. Just so you have a comparison of what he should look like. That's them too. There was a TikTok together. So that's, like I said, this is Timothy and this is Paul, the one that got arrested with Shanda. Okay. Are you ready? Are you ready to see this? So trigger warning, guys. Okay, this is really hard. This is going to be Timothy in his last days. It's when he's in the closet and it's like night vision, which almost even makes it harder because you know how people look the night vision. And you'll see how bad he was and them drag. Oh man, my heart's pounding. Whew. It was like a month ago that I watched this and it took a while to get it out of my head. All right. So please, you guys, if you don't think that you are ready to watch this, just leave real quick. I'll give you 10 seconds if you want to leave. It's hard. I mean, it's not. It's going to be hard. Okay, is everybody in here that wants to see it then? Nobody's in here that, so I don't want you guys to have an image if you didn't want to see it, because, okay, I'm gonna cut right to that part. So everybody good? It'll take your breath away. All right. Oh my Lord. I'm like starting to get hot. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna pull it over here. All right. Okay, it'll be first a picture of her and then it'll go over to, oh, whew. My heart's pounding. Oh my Lord. Okay. All right. Here we go. I'm going to press play and it's going to go to him really quick.
Being treated. The abuse that Timothy suffered over the next 6 months was unimaginable, but Shanda and Paul documented it all through text messages. By the time Timothy died on July 6, 2022, he had been starved to the point that he only weighed 69 pounds or 31 kilograms. That's the average normal healthy weight for a 10-year-old, but Timothy was 15. After calling 911, paramedics and Norton Shores police officers arrived on the scene and started asking Shanda what had happened.
I'll just let it play.
Make sure you pay attention to the fact that all of Shanda's crying creates 0 tears.
Now, you said the last time you saw him was 5:30 this morning?
Yeah.
Did he say anything?
He had fallen out of bed.
At 5:30?
Yeah.
You sure it wasn't earlier?
I mean, it's possible. I thought it was 5:30, but I wasn't super awake. I heard a thunk, and I came down, and he's kind of laying on his side, kind of like, what the heck? And I reached out, and I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Sorry. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Look, I'm shaking.
And I reached out and he pulled himself up, and I asked him if he's okay, and I just asked if he hit his head. He said, no, I think I hit my knees on my chest. I think he couldn't tell me how he fell. Oh my God. No, I don't know what to do. Oh my God. He said it was okay.
The way she talks to the officer is really suspicious. She makes a lot of subtle statements that don't relate to the situation, but makes her seem more sympathetic. She told the officer that Timothy's father couldn't handle him because he was always lying, which is unconfirmed by anyone that was interviewed about him. At one point, she just said, quote, "I love my kids," which to me seems like a weird thing to volunteer in that situation. Also, when they go up into the house, it's filthy. There's just garbage all over the floors. When the officer questioned Paul, he said he barely even talked to Timothy and he had no idea he had supposedly been on a hunger strike.
Have you been talking to him at all recently?
I talked to him yesterday morning to get him up.
That was right basically when we started.
Okay, so how long ago was that?
Did you know that he was in this hunger strike?
I think yeah. Did I tell you or not? I don't know if I did or not.
I don't think you did.
Is he skin and bone?
I know, and how did he?
He's really.
Well, he doesn't communicate with him hardly at all. Like, they say hi and they don't. Yeah, he's.
Shanda would go on to tell officers that Timothy had been fine up until about a month ago when Adam had a seizure while recovering from his stroke. Shanda would also say that Timothy's father, Eric, had just divorced Trish and was moving to Florida, and Timothy was unhappy about that. The evening of July 5th, she had returned home from work about 6 p.m. and then gave Paul a ride to work because his e-bike had a flat tire. On her way back, she stopped at Qdoba to pick up dinner, and back at home, Timothy wouldn't eat. He finally agreed to eat a few pieces of toast, and she saw him take 2 bites, but didn't know if he ate the rest. To be clear, she explained that she was worried enough about his weight at that time to tell Timothy if he didn't eat, she was going to take him to the hospital, but she did nothing to verify that he actually ate more than 2 bites of toast. She went on to say that at 10 p.m., Timothy got ready for bed, which consisted of him putting on pajamas, using the bathroom, and brushing his teeth. His bed was in the open area of the downstairs half of the split-level home. He slept on a loft bed, which is like a bunk bed without a lower bunk. Instead, there's a top bunk and then something else underneath like a desk or storage. She went to bed at about midnight and heard a loud noise at 5:30. She went downstairs where she found Timothy on the floor and she asked him if he was okay, to which he responded yes. She helped him back into bed and went back to bed herself. She got up for work at 6:15 and at about 6:30 she went downstairs to check on Timothy and he wasn't moving. She said she pulled him out of the top bunk to the floor so they could attempt CPR. When first responders arrived, Timothy was on the floor in a very loose-fitting sweatshirt and a pair of jeans with a belt cinched down so they would stay on his thin body. The question of why he wasn't in pajamas wouldn't be answered until later when it was revealed that most of this story was a complete fabrication. While at the scene, officers took note of several things they found odd. On top of the house being filthy, with dirty diapers on the floor and feces on door handles, they found a webcam that was pointed right at Timothy's bed and a set of handcuffs in an open drawer under the bed. There was a walk-in closet near Timothy's bed, and inside was a blue tarp and a small cardboard box. The officer stated that the closet reeked of urine. They also noticed that the closet door had a sensor on it so an alarm would sound if it was opened, and the handle was set to lock from the outside. Then they started noticing cameras on other parts of the house and that there was a lock on the refrigerator door and the food pantry. When a child dies in that condition and the food is locked away from them, alarm bells start going off for authorities. Shanda refused to consent to the house being searched when detectives arrived on the scene, so they secured a search warrant and returned to the house. A search of the house turned up the handcuffs in the drawer under Timothy's bed that turned out to be leg shackles. They found multiple cameras which were no longer active and didn't have any footage saved to them, except for one. One of the cameras had a micro SD card still in it that contained videos from the days leading up to, including the last night of Timothy's life. Investigators found zip ties as well as a bottle of Elijah's Extreme Regret hot sauce, which was not in the kitchen, but in the downstairs bathroom. The medical examiner determined that Timothy had died of starvation and that his internal organs showed signs of hypothermia. The reason for that would be uncovered when investigators read months of text messages between Shanda and Paul. When they reviewed the SD card from the camera, what they found was horrific. The videos took place from July 3rd to July 6th and showed Timothy sleeping in the closet every night. They show Shanda dragging Timothy into the closet and laying him on a tarp, sometimes covering him with a sheet. They show both Shanda and Paul yelling at Timothy. Here, Timothy can be seen completely emaciated, with Paul yelling at him to get up.
Timothy, get up! Come on, it's food time, get up! Now! Get up! You heard me! I've been shouting at you for the past 5 dadgum minutes! Get up! My word! Up! Come on! Come on!
He doesn't have energy. He doesn't have energy.
No, you're not. You're being slow. Get up! Stop it! I know it's fake. Stop! Get up! Come on, hurry it up!
So Paul is yelling at Timothy to hurry up and that he knows his behavior is fake, and that will come up with Shanda as well. She'll mention that Timothy was faking his condition, but he's clearly too weak to move at any reasonable pace. This video is the day before he starves to death. So no, he's not faking anything. His body is shutting down because of how his mother and his brother are treating him. He's being starved and locked in a closet.
I want to point out, did you see how Paul just dragged him out of there? Just watch that again. How he just, that was Paul just grabbing him up. Oh my God, it makes me sick. And that's why Paul should do the full 100. He's not faking. And the food, they weren't going to give him food. They were going to give him hot sauce with bread. They weren't going to get, when he said it's feeding time, it wasn't going to be normal food. He had no freaking energy to even get up. It wasn't like he was faking. You could see him struggling. Watch Paul just grab him up if you missed that. It's so sick. I can't stand this. I can't stand him.
Timothy was faking his condition, but he's clearly too weak to move at any reasonable pace.
He just grabbed.
This video is the day before he starves to death. So no, he's not faking anything.
Ugh.
His body is shutting down because of how his
Shanda
mother and
now
his
dragging
brother
him
are
in,
treating
like
him.
Shanda.
He's being starved
threw
and
him in
locked in
there.
a closet for hours at a time. Shanda eventually drags Timothy back into the closet.
Being an idiot.
It was an idiot. I was right. I said she called him an idiot, and then they said dummy, and I was like, oh, I was wrong. She does call him an idiot. Oh, look at his thought. Look at his bone. Like,
Don't worry your head on that spot.
oh, I can't.
I'll know if you did. And I'll know you did it intentionally.
I'll know. She says, I'll know if you move from that spot, and I'll know you did it intentionally. He's not even allowed to move. If he turns his head a little bit and she can't see what she wants to see, he's in trouble. So how is he expected to sleep and not move anything? So if he turns his head where she can't see him, it's his fault. He did something wrong as he's sleeping. When we sleep, we don't know what we do. We move. Yet she would yell and scream at him if he moves a little bit. I can't even,
There, Shanda called her son an idiot for moaning. You know, as his body shuts down due to starvation. She eventually came back in because Timothy had committed the crime of moving his head, and you can hear the door alarm in the background. She repositioned him and then called him an idiot again.
You don't need to open your mouth like that every time you breathe, idiot. See? I know how stupid you're being. Come on, Sarah, get out of here.
I can't.
She held his mouth shut and told him he was stupid for breathing through his mouth. Those are the things he's being punished for. Not getting up fast enough while emaciated and breathing with his mouth open. It's also interesting that she's able to move the camera around remotely, so Shanda is watching her 15-year-old son while he's locked in a closet starving. But this is her reaction in front of the police.
Hello, ma'am. I'm Officer Stefanich. Right now we got some people coming over to talk to you, okay?
I don't think so. She claimed multiple times that she never knew how skinny Timothy was because he wore baggy clothes, and she would tell other officers that he always wore his hood up. You can clearly see in the previous videos that Shanda not only has full view of Timothy's face, but holds her hand over his mouth, which would have clearly felt as thin as it looked. She also manhandled him multiple times in the video, so she knew 100% how skinny her son was. She just didn't care. Then the investigators looked through Shanda and Paul.
Okay, so I'm not going to watch this whole video. I just wanted to, because I have the rest of this stuff in my playlist videos. I have it all if you guys want to check it out. Plus, I have like the jail calls and stuff. I go through all the court documents. I have a very long playlist. But I do want to show, since now I see that, you know, it's fine to show this stuff because everybody in the comments, and I didn't see one bad comment under his comments. Everybody's like, thank you so much for showing it. But if I would have back then, I would have got condemned. But anyway, so I want to show you the text that Paul shows Shanda that I had originally redacted, but because I know like the hypocrisy. I would have got attacked, but now I see, hey, you know what? I think it's need to be seen because Paul texts her a picture of Timothy and he's standing up with his shirt open and she says, Mom, I think I'm worried. I think he does, maybe we should feed him. And she says something like, yeah, I see what you mean. But the thing I want to point out is if I'm remembering, I think it was about a month before he died. So that means you'll see this picture of him a month. They still continue to starve and torture him for a month that he's after looking like this, which is totally freaking ridiculous. And then we see the video that we watched was the night before he died. Okay. But this was like a month, if I'm remembering. Hold on, let me see the exact date. It was, this is the one in the text message that I originally redacted. This would have been about a month, not quite a month before he died. She sends him so think about that. For a few weeks after that, they continue to starve him and torture him and say he's faking it. Because then Shanda ends up saying to Paul, no, like he's faking it eventually. And they continue that. And this is the one in the bathtub that they take. This one was actually, this was from the day the last day in the bathtub before he dies that night, because it's the 7/5. But the other one was like about a month before, 3 weeks before. They continued. It's just making me so mad right now thinking about it. They freaking continued. Why is that half screen? Continued. I don't even know. I don't even know what to say. It makes me so sick. Hold on. Why is that a half a screen though? Oh, there we go. Where are you guys at? Now I can't find you. So that's basically, now you guys seen it all. So this is what I had seen prior, where I was just like, you guys trust me. Like the reaction I had, but I didn't show it because I was being condemned with everything I showed, and other people could show it, but when I showed it, people would attack me and talk crap about me and say I'm so wrong for showing it. So I didn't. But now that I see, like I said, because I think it's important. It's not for everybody. Not everybody is going to be able to handle it, and that's fine. It's why you give a trigger warning, and it's fine if you can't. But I do. I mean, I like to see everything because it helps me understand, everything about the case. Um, but like I said, it took my breath away. It took my breath away. But like I said, I made sure, on that video that played it all, I made sure like everybody in comments was okay with it, and he was getting all positive comments. Everybody was like, "Thank you for showing it. This was need to be seen. This is the best coverage." Blah blah blah. So I'm like, okay, if people want to be hypocrites and condemn me again, whatever, then. But I mean, but yeah, that's it. That's I just I don't even know what else to say. It's just it's the hardest thing, the hardest thing I've seen in true crime so far. Nothing. When I just before I played it, my hand was shaking and my heart was pounding. I was sweating. It has like a physical reaction. That's why I wanted to make sure you guys were aware. It just makes me so sick. And Timothy was so not faking it. He could not even stand up. Did you see him like hesitating? He couldn't. And then, if you guys aren't aware, they would tease him. So what Shanda would say is, he's faking it. He's faking it. Look, if they would say do certain things, and if he reacts, you could it means he's faking it. So one of the things she had him do is hold a pizza roll to his face, and if he goes for it, that means he's faking it. What kind of reasoning is that? A starving person on the brink of death that goes for the thing that would keep them alive because they want that. It's fight or flight. I mean, that's like survival because they go for it and they want to eat that because that's the one thing that they need to survive is not faking it. But that was her reasoning. If he goes and tries to get it, he's faking it. Take it away. A frozen pizza roll. If he tries to get it, take it away. We know he's faking. What kind of reasoning is that? How does that mean he's faking it? Another thing she would have him do is remember something about like if he reacts, what was it? It's been so long since I covered it. Something about like if he like flinches or something. And so Paul is listening to his mom say like if he does this, he's just lying, he's faking it to try to get what he wants. You gotta be freaking kidding me. And the one time that Paul had like a second of clarity when he sent that text message and said, Mom, I'm getting worried. Are you sure we shouldn't feed him? And all Shanda says, like I said, is something like, I see what you mean. But I think she said, give him some bread. So they give him some bread. That's her solution to that picture. I'm pretty sure if I'm remembering, it's a bread. So they give him freaking bread after that picture. The 3 weeks before he dies with his shirt out, they give him, give him a piece of bread. But now that part, it's not clear if they put hot sauce on it that time, but I'm guessing he puts hot sauce on the bread that time. I don't know. Because I think when she says give him bread, it's assumed with hot sauce. Okay. So that's her. And he had 60 seconds to go pee and 2 minutes to go poop. I think he was timed to go to the bathroom. Plus he had a diaper. So that way he didn't have to leave that much. They would handcuff him, zip time sometimes. Like you see the last day before he died, he turned the other way and she gets mad. You idiot, calls him an idiot. Oh, maybe he's making too much noise breathing out of his mouth, so she holds his mouth. This is the sicko that Paul is to blame too, because we saw how mean Paul was. We heard he used to bully Timothy even back when they were staying with her dad. He was a bully. Um, uh, so now I think Shanda is the mastermind. I mean, Shanda is the most to blame because, she was the mother, but Paul definitely that sentence 30 years to 100 was appropriate for Paul. Do you see how he grabbed Timothy out of there? But like I said, Shanda I put up here. Shanda is the most to blame in my opinion. But yeah. So that's that, guys. I will let you know about tomorrow interviewing Fritz, Shanda's fiance. I'm just curious on like what she had to say about this hearing coming up. And also I hadn't talked to him since that hearing a month or so ago when she got sick. Just kind of hear um and maybe I should wait till after because I'm sure he'll talk to her after this and see I guess I mean I have his phone number so I could keep in touch and just get like, what is she saying behind the scenes? Um but like I said, check out my playlist. I have her phone calls, I have Paul's phone jail calls on there. There's a lot of them of Paul. I go over the court docs, I show the pictures, the body cams, all that I have on my channel. The text messages, there's different parts because there's so many text messages. I go over all that. So it's definitely a hard case. Now if she does get a new trial, I mean, I'll definitely cover it if she gets a new trial. But don't worry, guys. If she happens to get a new trial, it's not because the judge thinks she's innocent and he died of dehydration. It's just because the fact of maybe the lawyer should have offered that argument. Because you know how defense lawyers, regardless if they know they're guilty or not, they have to do their job and defend them. I'm not saying he didn't do his job, but I'm saying if for some reason the judge decides that, it's not because he thinks she's right about it. It's because, it's just his job. But she'll 100% get reconvicted. So don't worry. I would bet my everything on it. There's absolutely no way that she would get found guilty if there's a retrial. But if there is, I'll keep you updated to see if I could find his decision. It doesn't look like he's going to have a hearing for it. So I'll just check the website, the court website and see. He said he'll write out the opinion. So I don't know how long it'll take him. I would guess it wouldn't be till after the weekend. But I'll check tonight. I mean, maybe he'll just do it tonight. I don't I would say probably not. What do you guys think? Do you think he'll do it today? And then here, let me share my playlist with you guys because I know I have so many playlists. Um, it's uh, it's probably hard to find sometimes. Hold on. Let me share my playlist. If you guys are interested in this case, I would check it out because I have a lot of stuff. I have I was in touch with some of the family members too that was giving me information. This was one of my cases I put a lot of time. I was definitely deep into it. Here is the playlist. Let me share it. I'll go through and make sure I have all my recent ones on the playlist. But here's my Shanda and Paul playlist. I just combined it into one. So both Shanda and Paul. If you guys want to check it out. I know I was gonna make a separate playlist for the jail calls, but I don't think I ended up doing it. I think I know I put them in this playlist, but I was gonna, oh, I did. Hold on. Because I wanted to have it separate where I had all the calls on one playlist if people just wanted to hear the calls. And I did do it. 49 videos here. So this is the jail call playlist. But like I said, I'm pretty sure on the other playlist that I included the jail calls. Let me see if I included hold on, don't leave yet because I'll share the jail call playlist. Let me see if I included the jail calls in the first one though. Yeah, at least I have some of them on the one I shared, but here is the one just with the jail calls. Hold on. Let me share it if you guys want to see. Oh, shoot, hold on. I clicked on the wrong thing. If you guys want to check them out, they're interesting. I'll put it in the description too. Here's the jail calls with Paul separate, Shanda's and Paul's. Shanda doesn't have a lot because she had no one to call. I mean, these were all the calls the before they got transferred because then they weren't available. Oh, I have to add that one in there. Ooh, I have one I have to add in the jail calls. Okay, I gotta remember to do that. Okay, guys, I'm gonna end this. Thanks for watching. No, I don't think so. No, last I heard, nope. Because I still talk to once in a great while, I still kind of keep in touch with Shanda's sister. So that's another thing in the playlist. I interview Shanda's sister. She comes on on video and everything. So that's on there. That's interesting. And I just actually text her about we talked on the messenger maybe a week or two ago. So I loosely kind of like keep in touch with her, see how she's doing. And she talks to Paul. So she's the one that told me that Paul wasn't with baby girl because I ended up blocking baby girl because I was in contact with her to try to get information for you guys about Paul and everything, to get, so we get information because she talks to him. So I was in contact with her. And then after all that drama started, if you were following it back then, I ended up blocking her. So I'm not in contact with baby girl anymore. But like I said, I am with Paige, and Paige last Paige is the one that told me that, yeah, her and Paul, because she talks to Paul in jail still. I believe she hasn't talked to her sister yet because they are like not on good terms, and she doesn't know if she wants to talk to Shanda. I don't think they had talked because she was debating. She's like, I can't. She's like, I don't want to yell at her, but she does talk to Paul. So, so that's that, guys. I will see you guys. Oh, Fritz is in here. Here is Fritz. I didn't even know you were in actually commenting. So this is Shanda. You're still consider her fiance, right? So yes, definitely if you want to come and just do audio for an interview, or if you want to do it like last time and I interview on the phone and then you're in chat and I relay what you said. I mean, of course we prefer you coming up on panel and doing audio, but I understand if, you don't want to do it that way. But if that is what I prefer, but if you just don't want to do it like we did last time, that's fine. But I'm definitely interested in talking to you because it's been like a few months, just kind of curious what, Shanda's been saying. So Fritz, I gotta ask, You saw that video of Timothy. You know who the mother was that was responsible for that. Does it change your feelings at all towards her? And I'll re-ask you that, for if we do an interview, if you answer, but I'll ask you this here. Does it make you like doubt it at all about your relationship with her? Like, how could somebody be so evil? And how could you love that person? I'm just asking. This is a question. I'm curious if that makes you doubt. Okay, if it makes you doubt, like maybe being with her. Okay. But does it make you like be like, maybe I shouldn't be with her? That was her own son. And me, not even my family. And I was physically, my hand was shaking, my heart pounded, sweating, takes my breath away. This is somebody she saw in person and is her freaking son, her own blood. I don't get it. Yes, I have him up on panel right here, Fritz Creek. That's Shanda's fiance. Oh, he's calling. Hold on a second. Okay.
Hang on.
I
Will
have.
I get feedback if I put YouTube on my
Um,
phone?
I don't know. It might be a delay. Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I thought it
Um,
would be. I
I
used to
could
work
give
at a
you a
television
link.
station, so
I could actually give you a link and you just go through StreamYard, but it's up to you.
that's all right.
Okay. So,
I'm in my car. I'm in my car. So.
oh, okay. So I got him on the phone. You guys can hear? Okay. So tell me, say what you were just saying again.
Well, of course it's terrible. I was awful. What can I tell you? Is that, who in their right mind wouldn't, be affected by that video? And it was a bad, she's not a consistently evil person. I don't know what the nature of evil, and you could go back and forth on that. It's a nightmare situation, but she's not an evil person. It was a bad situation in my, one person could call it evil. I call it bad. It was a clusterfuck situation. And unfortunately, she took it too far with her. The other kid, who I blame more than you blame her more than I'm the opposite of you.
Because she's the mother. She's the mother.
Well, she's
She
the
had the
mother,
ultimate say. Go ahead.
She didn't have the ultimate say. This kid, all this kid had to do was say, no, I'm not going to fucking do that. Pardon me. Oh, I guess I can curse on here. I don't know if I can or not.
Yeah, you can. After 10 minutes being on it, it's like 10 minutes into the video. YouTube has that rule. It's weird. But go ahead.
I don't know what YouTube's parameters are. All the kid, she's a person that needs somebody. She's a submissive person, and then she took the role of a dominant person in this situation, and it wasn't her thing. She overdid it.
But how could she stare at him for like months and see what we just seen? Because he looked like that a month prior too. I mean, he looked bad.
She's dissociative. Look at her house.
Yeah, but
Look at her house.
So
who in her who how could you live like that and not without how could you actually live like that? And obviously it didn't get her house didn't get like that in 25 minutes. And she was, I know people like they're like hoarders. They can't. It's the same for disorder as hoarding.
I want to respond to Soul Glow. He's blaming Paul, not Timothy. She said, "Are you blaming the son?" He wasn't. Fritz isn't blaming Timothy. He's saying Paul. That's who he thinks is to blame.
I blame him more than I blame her. All he had to do was say, "No, I'm not going to do this shit."
See, I disagree, but I mean, I respect your opinion. I mean, but you do blame her some, right?
Yeah, of course I blame her some. I've seen videos. There's videos of people that did the same thing with autistic kids, where they would run roughshod through their house, and they'd have to lock their food up so they wouldn't do what she said the kid was doing, eating everything and throwing it all around, throwing it up and blah 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 and that. Of course, she went too far. Or they went too far. He was. I know he was aggravated. He probably didn't go. That kid didn't go to school. The Paul kid. He was just a piece of ass, and that kid was aggravating him. And didn't he say he wanted to kill him at some point or something like that in one of those texts or something? He alluded to that or something like that. And she said, "No, why don't we just kill him or something?" He spoke words to that effect. And she said, "No, he can't do that," or something like that. You would know that.
I'm trying to remember. He does say something, but I don't think it's. I got to go back through. It's been a while.
Harm him in a very bad way or something. I don't remember. It was something to that effect.
Maybe like punch him or hit him or something. Yeah, I don't think he said kill, but
anyway, I'm of the opposite of you. I blame him more than her.
So what? Go ahead.
Of course, it's a bad thing, and it's a cute kid. I mean, I just think she's dissociated or something. She has some sort of mental thing, but I don't know her from that. Well, I don't know her before. Now I know her. I know her personally now, and now I just know her from now. She's okay to me. I mean, I can not like what she did, of course, but I wouldn't have met her. So it's just odd. It's an odd situation. I know people won't don't go for it, and they think, well, this guy's a nut, and whatever. But
what was she saying before this appeal hearing? Was she nervous? What were her thoughts about going into this court hearing?
We didn't really talk about it too much. We were talking about more or less her health situation. And her health situation isn't the best.
What is she saying is wrong with her?
Well, it's some major thing with her thyroid. So,
they could give her medicine, right? Though.
Well, no, it's a little beyond that. So, some people might be happy with it, but I'm not going to go into that. But I don't know. What can I tell you? It's terrible. It's awful, and she got herself in a bad situation by whatever happened. Things happen to people. Good things happen to people. Bad things happen to people. What do your fans want to do? Go up and kill her?
No, they just want her to. Well, she is staying in jail. She's not going anywhere, but they just want, what I want her to do? I want her to take responsibility and admit that she is to blame. Instead of playing as innocent and like, oh, I had no clue, and trying to put the blame on Paul. I want her to take some responsibility and say, I messed up. It was me. She could say her and Paul both team, but she is trying to put it on Paul. She's acting like she didn't do anything wrong. I want her to say she's guilty. That's what I want her to do.
Well, you've been in, I'm assuming from what I heard from your thing, you've been in a jail. Have you been in jail or something like that, or were you in trouble with the law or something?
Yeah, yes, I have one time. Well, I've had a few different charges, a stupid kid, but I have been in jail one time that it was like felt like bigger thing. Yes.
Did you say, oh yeah, well, I did everything?
Well, I didn't. That one, I know everybody says they didn't do, but I swear to God, the thing I was being charged for, my
Well, I don't
friend
care.
lied.
That's irrelevant. If you were, what if it was, if you were, would you have said, oh yeah, I did it all?
Well, yeah, well, I would never kill my
No,
kid, but if
you no, you wouldn't. No, that's irrelevant. What the charge is? Would you go up there and say, "Yeah, I did"? The human nature is to say, "No, I didn't do anything."
if I did it and yes, my conscience, well, yes, something like that, it does matter what it is. So I feel like,
Okay,
yes, I would.
You get pulled over for You get pulled over for having a few drinks, and the cop says, "Have you been? How many people have done this?" They get pulled over. Have you had a few? How many? Have you been drinking? No, I haven't. That's the first thing people say. No, I haven't. They don't say, "Oh, yeah, I have."
But that's different. Here's the thing. She's convicted.
That's
She
a
doesn't,
matter
I
of
mean, she's
degree.
already been charged, so she has no choice. Like, so why not just now admit it? She's not getting out, so now it's the time to just admit it. Like, what's
What's a Hail Mary Hail Mary play?
okay, well, we'll see what happens. This is what I want to see after this appeal. And if she goes back to trial, whatever happens, and she gets reconvicted or denied appeal, then she has nothing left. So why not just admit what you did? I mean, you have to. You're in jail for what's that?
Have patience and see what happens.
I don't think she will though. And in the thing where she's always has this selective memory, like,
well, maybe maybe she puts things. Maybe she does block things out. People do block things out.
but it's just so convenient that it's only the things that make her look guilty, you know?
I'm not a psychiatrist.
I'm sorry, I'm not attacking you. It's her. I am so sick, like especially after watching that video again. I can't understand how a human can do that to another human. Like, oh, thanks, Coons, for joining. But okay, well, thanks for talking though. If you guys, the reason I'm not asking like the basic questions because I had interviewed him before, and asked all the questions, but
are they going to find out where I live and
no real life. I would hope no real life. I'm not for like the real life thing. You know what I'm saying? Where people like go real life on people. No, when we're talking about it, I would hope no.
Yeah, I would hope not either.
No, don't you guys. We're just
don't cut my tires.
Yeah, I mean, we're just asking him questions. You could disagree with what he's doing, but so well maybe for people that don't know.
Plus for I'm not religious, but I work with a lot of religious people and blah 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 about Jesus this and Jesus that, and you're supposed to really not judge people, no matter what. That's how I try to live my life. I'm not anyone's judge.
Yeah, I get that. I just want her to take responsibility for what she did.
I'm not a Bible thumping I'm not a reborn whatever Trump nut or whatever. Reborn nut, Bible thumping Trump nut or anything like that.
So
I don't judge people on anything.
I don't either. I feel like I don't either. I'm not judging anybody. I am just
fuck with me. That they fuck with me. Like Marquis de Sade said, if you kill somebody, then the family of the person you killed, they can have the revenge. That's in Marquis de Sade.
okay. Will you for people that haven't heard my last interview with you, can you just maybe give a quick description of how you met Shanda? Because I think people are wondering.
Well, I just happened to watch her on court TV one day, and she just looks like she looked alone, and I know that feeling. And I've never written anybody, and I'm not I like true crime. I watched your channel, because I like true crime. Not every true crime case, just very limited. But she just seemed like a very alone person, so I just happened to write her. I was going to write her or what's her name that cut her boyfriend's head off.
Oh, you talk about you told me Taylor. You were telling me about that. That's right.
Yeah, because I thought they were both kind of cute. I thought, well, at least this one's got a law degree and it's kind of smart, and the other one's a meth head. So I said, well, fuck it. And so I just wrote her and said, this is not a hate letter, and said, it seems like you need some sort of friend, and if you want to write back, that's fine. If you don't, that's cool too, whatever. And then she wrote me back about a month later, and then we were just blah, blah, blahing and talking about this, that, and the other, football, and she likes football and sports, and as I do. And didn't really talk about her case too much, just talked about having a friend, and especially in her situation. And I said, well, you don't have any family, and I don't have any family or any. Your fans will probably jump on this. But I don't have anything going for us. So why don't we become friends? More than friends. And she said, okay, let's get married. I said, well, whatever, okay. And it's more or less like Seinfeld when George had the prison girlfriend. I thought, well, you don't have to do a whole lot, but you got a girlfriend. So, and I'm very lazy, and I like Seinfeld, so I thought it would be kind of funny in a way. I didn't really think it would actually happen, but I guess it did. So whatever.
Wait, she asked you to get married. I didn't remember that.
She assumed I was asking her to get married when I said we don't have anyone, so we have each other. It's kind of what I said, and I think she inferred that I was asking her to get married, and I thought, well, why not? What the hell? She's probably not going to get out of jail, so it might make her happy. So what the hell?
Are you still going to marry her? Is that still the plan?
Yeah, I guess so. Why not? What else is there to do?
But you never made it up to her yet, right? Or down to her?
Not yet. No, I got to get up there, and I still have I'm bad with time. I'm like I don't think about time the way a lot of people think about time. So.
Did you end up getting your car fixed yet, or?
Not fully. No, it's if there's any Mini Cooper people out there that are willing to help, but someone they perceive as a lunatic, and they can help me work on my fuel pump, please let me know.
Mini Cooper, you said, okay.
It's a pain in the ass, but it looks good.
So, how often do you still talk to her? Pretty often, or how often do you talk to her?
More or less like a couple times, 3 times a week. She'll call, and then a lot of the times these calls get cut off in the middle, and a number of times I'm asleep, and they up my Seroquel. So what are these people saying about me on this chat thing?
Yeah, well, hey, does anybody have any questions you want me to ask them real quick? Push Me just said, thank you, Fritz, for having the guts to come on for a live. Alstain said, thank you for using GTL. Wait, what's GTL?
Oh, that's the prison thing. Is that
maybe.
Are they getting all my letters?
Maybe. Just don't lick the invitation envelopes, Fritz, Alstain says. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one.
He said that's a good one, Alstain. Any other questions? Do you want me to ask Penny? I asked him about the whole, if you guys want to watch the first interview I did where I ask him the questions, then just relay it. But he talks about that whole thing. She asked, what happened to her girlfriend? How long have they been together? He tell him how he was aware of that, the girlfriend, right? Do you want to explain that a little bit?
I don't, I think the girlfriend was more into like her being, into it being a lesbian or affair with Shanda than Shanda was with her. I don't think Shonda's not really into that. So she's a hardcore maggot person. So I don't think she's really into that.
So she was just kind of using her, right? In a way?
I don't know. I didn't really go into it in depth with her. Like I said, if it didn't involve me, I don't really care. So.
Trying to think if there's anything else. Like I said, because I did ask him a bunch last interview. Let me see if anybody else. Oh, Laura Lou says, does Shonda ever express remorse?
She gets very, we don't talk about we don't really talk about the particulars of the case, but on his birthday, she shuts down and can't really do much for 2 days or so. And yes, she does. So yes.
I have a question. Do you notice her memory problems? Does she forget like stuff with you?
Yeah, she does.
Does it seem to be like the stuff that makes her look bad, or?
It's just everyday little things like, oh, I mentioned this to you. And I said, no, you didn't mention it. You didn't mention it. And yeah, you mentioned it 20 times. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
What else? So you think she's being honest about the memory, and you think you said you think she disassociates and stuff. Okay, I forgot about that. Okay, Pee Nala, or however you say it, says, has Sandra had a psychological test for Munchausen by proxy? You probably don't know. I don't know. Do you know if she has had one?
Oh, no, I don't know about that. I don't know.
Okay, one more question here. Mello says, where does he think this relationship is going? All phone calls?
I just answered that. It's just like Costanza's relationship on Seinfeld. I said she's not going to break out of jail and show up at my apartment.
So you have no desire to actually like her to be free and be with her like that then, basically, huh?
This was, you ever watch Annie Hall, the movie Annie Hall?
No.
You never watched Annie Hall? Nobody, anybody out there watched Annie Hall? When Annie Hall moved in with Woody Allen, he got pissed off because he didn't want anybody living with them. But he was perfectly happy when they were a couple, but she kept her own apartment.
Okay.
So that's like, that's my ideal relationship. You have a relationship, but you're not in the same building.
I see. Okay.
It's like, solitude, 11th commandment. It's like, familiarity breeds contempt. So.
Yeah, okay. Karen Miller asked, does he like the braids?
Oh, she loves the braids. I love the braids on her too.
Do you? Okay, you love them. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, is she gonna take your last name?
Hopefully so. Yeah. She did, I told her to do it anyway, but she couldn't really do it. I don't think legally.
Okay.
I said, just do it anyway. And whatever.
Do you?
My whole answer to life and all your questions is whatever.
Okay, just kind of laid back, whatever happens.
Whatever, man.
Okay.
Whatever's cool by me, man.
It's just me asks, does he have kids? Do you have any kids?
No. I have a cat. My other cat passed away, poor Oliver, and now I got Snickers. No, I'm not a cat. I'm not a kid person. I don't. At least nobody's dropped any off at my house in the past 58 years. So no, none that I know of.
Okay. I was gonna ask you something else. I forgot. Hold on, let me think. Um, oh, do you think she'll get a new trial? What do you think is gonna happen with this appeal?
Uh, I think that I think she could get an appeal. Yeah, I think the judge was heavily biased against her.
And if she does have a new trial, are you gonna go in person and watch it?
I'll try to. I'm pretty broke. I used to have some money, but I'm pretty broke. So who knows?
And somebody asked, does he work? Yeah,
Yeah, I work. I gotta. I'm not. I don't want people to find out where
No,
I
I
work.
wouldn't say where. No, don't do that. But yeah, yeah.
Who knows what these keyboard people do though?
You never know. I mean, some people do go real life, but and I'm not saying anybody in chat. That's not what I'm saying. But anybody can watch this. So,
Right. Yeah.
I've always been against people going real life because I mean, there's some people that'll call people's work or go in there and go to their house, and I mean, it happens. I don't like that. I wish people didn't do that. But all right. Well, I can't think of any more questions. Oh, here's one more question. Mello says, does he know her debts are his debts now? Will he have to pay her outstanding court case costs I guess if you marry her, would you? I don't
That's one reason why I could let her think that we're going to get married.
And not actually get married, you mean? Is that what you're saying?
Could be one reason.
Okay.
It could not be. It could be. It could not be. It could be. It could not be. All I'm saying is every hospital's had no luck getting money out of me. So I'm the proverbial turnip.
Oh, Karen asked, does Shanda know that you're broke? That was her
yeah.
question. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I can't think of any more. If you guys email me, guys, or leave in the comments if you could think of more, and then maybe I could ask them, another time. Because I can't think of any right now. But thanks for coming on and letting me Zeke's barking oh shoot Zeke, my mom just got home. But thanks for coming on and talking.
No, that's it. Mine would think that's not fair.
Zeke, stop it. I forgot. I muted it for a second, but forgot I'd have to unmute it for you. Zeke, hold on. Hell's quit barking once my mom comes in. I'm sorry. And no, I am. Oh, it just hung up. Did I hang up on him? I think he was on his way to work anyway, so he probably had to go. I don't know if I hung up or it hung up. Well, if you're still listening, Fritz, thank you for coming on and answering. That was cool that you came on and let me hold the phone up to the mic. If I can think of any more questions, I'll let you know. And like I said, guys, I asked all the more basic questions that you guys are probably like, why isn't she asking? Because I had already asked them on the first interview I had. But so yeah. And I was gonna ask him this right here, but he kind of answered that already, basically. It's almost like he's making it seem like he is, but he's it's kind of like that's why I'm making it, keep saying I will marry her, I'm gonna marry her, whatever. But that's the way I took it, that he's really not probably going to because of the debt. He would be having to take her debt and stuff. So I'm taking it as he probably really isn't gonna actually marry her. But if I'm wrong, Fritz, let me know. Um, oh, that would be a good question. I don't think he's in chat. anymore. Oh, hopefully. No, nothing was said. Yeah, it was just Zeke barking. Okay, I was gonna say, did I say something that maybe offended him? But no, it was just Zeke barking, and then, but that is a good question. Does he know if Shauna and Paul communicate? I could ask Paige that too, because Paige talks to Paul. Um, no, but they would no, they wouldn't be able to communicate though. Thanks, Cat Mouse, because that I mean they're not allowed. But I guess I see what you're saying. Like in a way where they talk to somebody and somebody relays something. I doubt it though. But you guys, jail calls. If you check out my jail calls, you'll see Shonda's original reaction when her girlfriend back then tells her about Paul having a fiance. Um, so yeah, check out the jail calls. I will put the two playlists in my description. And maybe I'll pin no, I want to do timestamps in the pinned comment and the description. So I'm gonna put the playlist for the case and then a playlist for the jail calls. Here, let me do it one more time. If you guys want to watch the jail calls, it's this, and then listen to the jail calls. And then if you want to do just a playlist, now if you want to see the first time I interviewed him, well, I relayed his answers. It'll be one of my more recent ones on the because kind of. I mean, the last few will be the court hearings. I think the last two, and that, well, this one and then two more, and then it might be the one right before that. Um, but here's the playlist for the whole case. So we have two different playlists. Let me see if I have, I'll go through and make sure I have the most recent ones on the playlist. I'm pretty good at keeping up with adding them when yes, I have his last ones. There's three actually. There's a live stream and two pre-records of with talking about her fiance. There's a picture of him and stuff. Uh so if you just go to that playlist and scroll down, you'll see three different videos about his fiance. One is Shanda, the live stream is Shanda's fiance answers our questions about the relationship. And then I have two shorter ones. One called Shanda's fiance answers questions about the relationship. I think that's a pre-record that I, make it more condensed. And then the first one where before I even talked to him, where I ordered the court docs and realized that she had a fiance. It's called Shanda Vander Ark Getting Married, question mark. And then Paul Ferguson scared of being general population, because I ordered the jail documents to see if there's anything new, and I ordered Paul's and Shonda's. But here, I'll share the two. Here's the first one before I talked to him, but about the fiance, because I was reading the documents, learning about him, and then the Paul documents. There's not many, but it's just what they had. Now, there's a ton of documents throughout the whole case, but when I ordered the newest ones where I was trying to see if there's anything new happening in jail, and then I see that she had a fiance, that's this video. And then when I relay the answers to the questions that I ask them, that's this video. All right, guys. I'm gonna go. Thanks again, Fritz, and thank you all for being here. Cat Mouse, thanks again for donating. And wait, I want to thank Coons for joining, and Cat Mouse for donating, and for gifting a membership. And then Twisted Taurus, 69 months. That's a long time. Okay, I'm gonna go. Thank you guys. I will see y'all next time. What do I have coming up? Hold on. So I'm waiting, like I said, for those Wade kiosk messages. Oh, that girl responded about those teen girls that I've been covering that were laughing in a police car, and I was like, why did they say they weren't available? And the local channel had that body cam last night on the live. Well, I figured out who to contact to get stuff. So because that's the thing with files requests, there's multiple people sometimes, each one will have different things. So I'm going to contact them to see if there's anything else, because she responded. So yeah, guys, have a good one. Oh, and yeah, like I said, if he comes out with like, and he just does like a quick the judge, I mean, he does like a quick answer opinion on that, I might just post it in the community post, like the document. Like it'll probably just be one page for the answer. Depends if I feel like, if I just kind of want to do a live when it comes out and I'm like, I want to go live, then I'll just go live. But check my community post, because if not, I'll just post a page like with the document when he comes with the answer. I don't know if that'll be today or tomorrow, but keep checking back, and have a good day, everybody. Thanks again. I guess I should, let me say hi to a few people. Push me. Thank you. Alsane, thank you for coming. It's just me. Thank you. Cat Mouse again. Thank you. Mallory Rose. Yes. What time Rose are you? Time Rose. I just said what time Rose. What time zone are you on? Oh, it does match. I actually didn't even do that one on purpose. Yay. You know what I want? Like a shirt. I have that one hoodie that kind of splits the color, but then it goes like this. I want to get a hoodie that's just split colors. Like I wish this one right here was split, and then one side was pink and one side was blue or something. I like the little block colors for clothes. Um Thanks, Mello. Karen Miller, thank you for coming. Have a great day too. Katie girl, have a good one. Thank you for coming. Peace. um who else? DW, thank you. Mystical. I have that song in my head. Is it mystical? That one. Mystical, or what am I thinking of? I could hear it in my head. Does he say mystical? I think it's what's his name? Benny something or something. I don't know. Anyway, Soul Glow, thank you. Penny Holmes, I am Horse Nut. That was interesting though. I mean, we got to see Shanda testify. Kathy. So, okay, my gal. All right, have a good one. Bye.